30 men, one championship match. WWP presents the Royal Rumble. Who's gonna win it? Could be Taz.
He's not even fucking in it, is he?
I don't know. Could be Perry. I just want to say all the jobbers. That's what we should do. Who should win? And you just go, could be this, could be that. We'll just say like the shittest of the shittest.
Billy Gunn is my pick.
Could be Billy Gunn. You may be looking at the Albert era.
Will Maven prove that he is tough enough?
Will Val Venus fuck his way to a championship title match?
Will Val Venus come and see and then come again?
Will RVD's chances go up in smoke?
Will Spike Dudley's neck ever be healed?
Will Perry Saturn ever look at you without one eye going in one direction and the other one going completely in the opposite one?
Will Perry Saturn ever go public with his relationship with the mop?
Will Raven do time in prison for killing said mop?
Almost certainly.
All these questions and many, many more, and many less, will all be answered as WWP presents the Royal Frickin' Rumble.
Woo!
That was a good Ric Flair woo. I appreciated it.
Alright, so welcome to episode 2 of WWP and our character arc of Chris Jericho in his first ever undisputed title run. Last time out we did Vengeance, and today we're following on from that with the Royal Rumble from 2002. The first pay-per-view event of the year, and like Christmas, it only comes once a year. The Rumble. The Rumble is the best. Well, it's not the best, but it's the best example of how excited you can get for wrestling, because it starts out the whole Road to WrestleMania thing, and it just sets up like the greatest spectacle in sports entertainment for another year. So we're pretty excited to do this. My name is El De Niro. I'm joined by Miguel.
Hello.
He's happy to be here.
Very happy to be. Extremely excited to be covering 2002 Royal Rumble. Get this, right? Sponsored by Final Fantasy X.
Yes.
Didn't see it on the pay-per-view, but I think that's pretty fucking cool.
I didn't see it at all, but I do like when they're sponsored by video games. Like most recently they had a pay-per-view sponsored by Rocket League. Totally down for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. None of this Chef Boyardee or Doritos or anything like that.
Oh, they had the Mountain Dew, and they'd have them in the commentary desk, and they wouldn't literally not touch it.
Yeah, none of them ever
Entire
drink
time.
it. It's the weirdest thing. Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen a UFC fighter drink a can of Monster Energy, and yet their conference tables are fucking loaded with the stuff. So
Yeah, it's like, here's shit we'd never have, but if you want it, you buy it.
if you want to watch Conor McGregor throw one of these at Nate Diaz, or fucking the other Diaz, Nick Diaz. Nate Diaz? Nick Diaz?
Nick and Nate. Nate doesn't sound like a guy. Uh-oh, UFC. Uh-oh. Is it? I think it's Eugene Diaz, but that's my knowledge of UFC.
Eugene
right there.
Diaz, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that clip though. That's pretty fucking awesome. Him chucking at him.
Yeah, I especially liked it because Dana White was like, Connor, do not throw that, and then he just did it anyway.
It's like a dad. Connor, don't.
Yeah.
Connor, no.
Yeah. Good luck
And he
stopping him. And then he got
Yeah.
fined more than most people earn. So
Yeah.
that's
Still probably like a drop off what he's making.
yeah. So that's UFC talk done.
Woo! UFC covered. They fight and they throw cans. We've established that. Yeah.
It's a good promotion. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
What did you think of the opening vignette for this event? I thought it was quite bland.
Yeah. They went through the winners, but they always do that.
Yeah.
They always do that fucking. The no allies, even though as covered later, and then it's every single time they have a Royal Rumble, there are alliances.
Yeah.
So you tell me that Matt and Jeff aren't gonna team up, right? Why wouldn't they? Oh, it's just number one. Because no, it's not. It's actually. I mean, I guess you wouldn't be able to sell it as like you may have alliances. People might team up. Watch out for that. All right. highlight, particularly of a clip of JR saying Valvenus, sorry. Oh, I've got Durst written, but Fred Durst is not featured. It's Goldust. Goldust.
Goldust, yeah.
Mr. Perfect and Godfather back in the Rumble. It's like a who's who of like the mid card of like 5 years ago, except
Pretty
for Mr.
much,
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then you have a clip from The Undertaker saying, "I'll be the only dog standing in the middle of the ring." Except he says, "I'll be the only dog." He's probably emphasizing how much of a dog he actually is.
Yeah. There's an interesting crossover between Undertaker and most rappers and their dialect and the words they use, and yet Undertaker is still very painfully white, but just
And in his
talks like a
40s.
black guy. Yeah, and in his 40s, but he's like coming out to Limp Bizkit. He's, I don't know, like he's like a white blues guy in the sense that he's driving a motorbike.
Yeah.
But he also chews tobacco and says "damn" and says "my yard" and just talks in.
He jives. I think that's the kind of speak that is. It's like you don't talk properly. You like just go off on. You just use different words. You know, I'm surprised honestly he hasn't described anyone as a cat.
Yeah,
We've got this cat here, and I'm the big dog and stuff. Over at the time. Again, we touched on this before. Massively over at the time.
Yeah.
Just we'll never understand it. I think it would have had Kid Rock because they played a really generic song.
Yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be Kid Rock, I think, but it was the music was very uninspiring. I think that's kind of what did it, because ultimately, without the soundtrack, you're just looking at a bunch of those Polaroid pictures of previous Rumble winners and classic moments, and it's very basic looking. There's just nothing to it, really. Like, it wasn't inventive. There was no interesting new graphic or theme supporting it. It was just a very old and plain look at previous Rumble days, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, here's the finish from. They do this thing where they usually pick it from about. They go Flair, Shawn, Rock, Austin, but they don't go Diesel's won it, and they don't go that weird one in '97 where Stone Cold kind of won, but he didn't because he was eliminated and he came back in. So they just kind of just pick and choose, and that, even though I understand why they avoid certain people. Also, you've got Kevin Nash coming in soon, so you don't want to be like. Well, maybe they think that people would confuse Diesel with Kevin Nash and it's the same person. They might be like, "Hey, is that Diesel? Fake. His name was Diesel." I don't know. But fake Diesel. But no, I always felt that like it's weird when they just pick and choose. It's basically whoever's in good standing with the company at that time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And that's who you get on the highlight reel, on the opening. Because do you remember this? Not the opening they had at the time, because this is still like the epilepsy opening.
Yeah.
You know,
Everything flashing really quickly.
Yeah, but the one they had after this, actually no, they had Ruthless Aggression. The one after that is the one where they kind of play sound clips of everyone, and it kind of goes, "You're fired, give me a hell yeah," and it goes.
Oh yeah, that's a cool one actually.
I really like that one, but whenever Stone Cold was in bad standing with the company, they'd fucking cut out his bit, or Hogan's bit, or Bret's bit, or Macho's bit, or Flair's bit when he was in TNA. So they just like, it's weird because it feels childish.
It's very petty, yeah.
You know, like they still wrestled in at the time. No one's gonna be like, "Oh man, I better Google where they are," and then they see, "Oh God, I love TNA. Flair's here. Ric Flair's here," and it's fucking embarrassing. And it's fucking 60s, but. Yeah, it's just weird how they always pick and choose. It's the same thing here. I don't think they mentioned Nash, I suppose, because he was coming in. They didn't mention the one where Bret and Lex Luger both won. I wonder why.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But, yeah, here we go. WWF New York.
Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it? The whole time.
Fucking nuts.
Everybody, like, just... everybody on the ground. What does that song? Everybody on the ground. It was like that. Everybody was just fucking nuts.
I wonder if they know that the wrestling wouldn't be happening there.
Yeah. I'd love to go to that. It's a shame they don't do that anymore, because I think that alone would be like, if I were ever going to New York, which I probably will be pretty soon, I would definitely time it so that I would be able to go to New York, do all the touristy shit, and then go to Times Square and watch wrestling with other wrestling fans at a reasonable hour instead of...
I was just gonna say the hour as well.
Yeah.
That's the dream, is 7 p.m. to like 11, I think it's, or 8.
Yeah.
8 to 11. But yeah, another thing as well, like, I think the reason why they stopped doing it is because it cost them loads of money.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to stop them from doing that in general, and just saying, like, if you're here, you know, they do SummerSlam in LA every year. Like, if you're the Hard Rock Cafe or something,
yeah, exactly.
put on the wrestling. Come on down.
Yeah, that would be pretty damn cool.
But they don't. They kind of just hide, and I don't know. I think they're kind of ashamed of their fans sometimes.
It's understandable, really.
Yeah. There was one sign which we'll get to. It's not even that controversial, but it's a reason to be ashamed of one fan. But right, should we kick this off? Dudley Boyz.
Yep. Them damn Dudleys.
Damn Dudleys with Stacy.
The Duchess of Dudleyville.
The Duchess of Dudley. Jerry Lawler is creepy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part 1. There's more to this.
Yep.
And then, so they're the challengers here, which is weird because last time we saw them, obviously they had the titles.
Yeah, that's right. They beat the giant team of Big Show and Kane.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Call back.
Yeah. And then, because I had no idea who they're up, because I actually thought they were defending. First of all.
Yeah.
And then second of all, I was like, who the fuck are they fighting? And then you just hear it. It's Taz! Fucking Taz comes out. I love that his theme song, by the way.
It's absolutely awesome. His whole intro is great. The thing over his head, for some reason, like, that makes sense. And the way that before he comes out, it's like... And then the soundtrack is so damn good.
It's Taz. Yeah, so he's with Spike Dudley, who's got a broken freaking neck.
He does have a broken freaking neck, yeah. Wouldn't be advisable to wrestle in one of those things, but you gotta remember, he comes from the world of ECW. This guy is extreme. And
exactly.
He's also skinnier than most gamers, so it's interesting.
But the thing is, like, him and Taz are like the same height.
Yeah, but Spike has no definition whatsoever. Taz has a lot of definition, but no neck. It's like together they make one acceptable wrestling human, I think.
Taz looks like a little pug.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
like a little dog. That's quite rowdy, but very tiny. And Spike Dudley is James Ellsworth, circa 2002.
Yeah, it's really cool though in this match because JR says early on, he points us to Sunday Night Heat or something like that, and he says the Dudley's plan here is to isolate and destroy one of them and then just work on the other one, and they do this reverse 3D on Taz within the first minute outside the ring.
Fuck that, because Taz has neck problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck that, that is so horrible. They're making him take, like, a fucking back and neck bump on the outside in the first minute of the match.
Within the first minute, and then it's all down to Spike, who is, like, you know, I have seen toothpicks with more definition than this man, and it's up to him against them damn Dudleys and the Duchess of Dudleyville. So.
And the Duchess. And it's also at this point that I realized there's 5 people in this match, 4 of them are wearing camo.
Yeah, exactly.
There is some camo.
You can't even see them. The camo's so damn good. Like they just blend in with their urban environment, you know.
I love on Stacy. It's like wear as little as possible, but make sure it's camouflaged.
Yeah,
you know? It's like a skirt and a bra on, basically.
She's got like a black bra, and then a camo covered belt that doubles up as a skirt in this.
Perfect.
Instance. Yeah.
Lawler loves it, and also, again, no interaction with her the entire match when they come out.
Yeah. But she does she attempts to play a key role in the match. It doesn't quite work out for her. But the match itself, they ripped off Spike's neck brace, didn't they? That happened kind of early on, which obviously freed him up a little bit. But
beat the shit out of him.
They pretty much fucking annihilated this guy, yeah.
Like, Bubba's suplexes and his neck breakers are so, like, they look really painful. I'm sure they're safe enough, but he makes it look real.
He's awesome, Bubba Dudley.
So good.
Yeah, he's really good.
Like, for a big guy, he's not like lumbering, he's quite agile, and he's never like not a lot of rest holds. Like really impressed, especially this match, because I think like they fucking squeezed like a 12-minute match into about 5.
Yeah, Bubba's so explosive. That's really what makes him. Like he doesn't do anything badly, really. His punches look good, like they're different to other punches. That elbow thing he does is a nice touch for like the final thing. The Bubba bomb is pretty damn awesome. And then he also works really well with Devon, and they're like such a class tag team. It just works so well.
Yeah, because I think I like as well. Like, I love when they do the double flapjack to Spike, because he goes to the fucking stars.
He goes all the way up there.
Yeah, and then obviously they do that thing where it's like, let's do a move we've never done before, and they do the double clothesline. They hit each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Classic. And then Taz back on the apron.
Taz as the hot tag is so good. So many suplexes happen.
He can suplex. I love it.
Yeah, the human suplex machine. Within about 35 seconds, he's hit like 45 suplexes. It's just, there are Dudleys flying all over the ring. It's so good.
I love that, like, he never throws them on their head. He's always quite, like, it goes exactly as it's meant to, even if he grabs you from the side and stuff. He's very technical. He's not like a sort of, what's his name, Mike Awesome, which just pick someone and just throw him and fuck how they, or Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just coughed. He's quite precise with his sort of, he's much. I guess everyone here at Austin Spike is quite explosive with their moveset, which is
true.
Makes for an enjoyable 5-minute match.
Did you see when Taz kicked Bubba in the head and he went flying?
What was that?
It was so good.
He kicked him on the side of the head and he did like a 180 and just fell outside the ring almost.
He face planted, didn't he? Like landed on the side of his face on the canvas. It was so cool. Such an awesome little thing to do.
Taz is like got the hardest punt in the history of wrestling. He just like straight up KO'd him, and then he puts on the Taz mission.
Yeah. He put Stacy in the Taz mission too, didn't he? At one point.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
Turns around, locks it in. I can't remember exactly what happened because it was quite a chaotic end to the match, but it does end with Devon tapping out to the Taz mission, and they retain the infamous tag team of Spike Dudley and Taz.
The commentator and the tiniest guy.
Yeah. The commentator and the cruiserweight.
Yeah, I think he's full on commentator here as well. He's not like, I think if you watch the SmackDowns, I think he's actually like there like full time, because if he's doing commentary for like the old games, then he must be at this point because it's 2002.
That's interesting. Does he get up from his commentary desk and defend his tag team belt then? How does that work?
No, I think he only wrestles on Raw.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I know they won the titles on Raw.
Yeah,
I looked that up as a hardcore match, but I don't know if he's also. Yeah, that's weird, because if he just sat there and being like, I guess Lawler does it sometimes, but it's just weird. It's like, oh, I guess I gotta go up there and fight.
Yeah.
See you in 5.
Yeah, we'll let Michael Cole fucking guide the show by himself. 2002 era Michael Cole as the only commentator when you've got talent like they had back then. That's definitely a recipe for success, yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's about 5 minutes. Nice opener. Oh, the crowd's good. Speaking of which, in comparison to our last show, like the crowd's really good.
Yeah, this Rumble was in Atlanta, Georgia, wasn't it?
It's WCW world here.
Yeah, interesting that there were no Goldberg chants the whole way through.
No, and there is a Goldberg reference. I don't know if you picked it up during the Rumble.
Oh, I thought I saw somebody with a sign that said Gold Dust, but it was written in the Goldberg font.
Oh no, this is on commentary.
Oh really? On commentary? I didn't
yeah. But we'll get to it. It's a little trail there.
Little tease for what's to come.
Exactly? And then I'll just say it and go, oh, was that it?
We're going to be talking about, like, heads up, people. What we have yet to come is the Goldberg reference from the 2002 Royal Rumble.
Spoiler alert, he didn't show up.
That's what you're here for, yeah, that's right, unfortunately. But
coming up next, it's William Regal hitting people with brass knucks.
Yeah, this is great. It's just footage of this crazy English man
just attacking
people with a fucking 4-finger ring. Boom, to the head, everybody.
Bam.
Yeah, good stuff.
Clocking fools left and right. Like, he did it to Edge. He did it to other baby faces who I can't remember. Probably did it to Taz. I'm pretty sure I saw Taz getting punched. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Test ate the Knuckles as well.
Yeah. The
For
immune.
no reason other than the fact that he seems like a bad guy.
Yeah, and the sexual assault on Trish
The
at the
attempted
last
rape.
show.
Yeah.
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 He's immune. He can't get fired. He could kill someone like, oh, he's immune for a year.
He can do anything outwith the confines of the law because he won a battle royal at Survivor Series 2001. All right, we don't need to go into that in any further detail. That should be obvious to anybody listening.
Exactly. I wish I knew a lawyer so I could consult him and be like, if this is a stipulation of a fight, how extreme does this law? Let's pretend it's real. How extreme will this law hold up?
I'd love to see an episode of Suits about that.
Yeah, and I want to see how far he can take that. Like, he just walk to the ring and just basically, like, I don't know, take a big shit and, and that's it, and be like, you can't fire me, or is that outside of what immunity means? I don't know.
Has Randy Orton not already done that and not gotten fired, though? I'm pretty sure there are people who could get away with doing exactly that and nothing would happen to them.
That's so true, yeah. I think he, like, shat in someone's bag.
He did.
What a baby face.
What a great guy. But he's so damn talented, we can't let him go. We just can't.
No. We've got to have the entrance. The full entrance. All 6 minutes of it.
Yeah.
He's... We should do reviews on him, actually. His title runs, like one of the 52,000 he's had. I think that would be quite interesting.
I'd really like to do Legend Killer Randy.
Oh, that first run.
Yeah, that would be great.
When he beat Redacted.
Yes,
World
that's
Heavyweight
right.
Title.
Randy Orton in action for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. Yep, that's
exactly. Yeah, Stevie Richards, I think. I can't remember who the other guy was.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Someone was there.
No, it was a Canadian guy, I think.
Yes, it was, of course.
Test.
I think Test might have been dead at the time.
Yeah, possibly. No, I think Test actually died a lot later than that.
Oh, no, because he would have done the second ECW run.
Yeah, that's right.
Boydie McRoyd's.
I think Test left us in 09.
Oh, in 09, there you go. Yeah, it could have been him. Could have been Owen's brother, Brett and Owen's brother, Bruce Hart. I mean, you just don't know who that guy was.
You never know, yeah.
Could have been Stu. You don't even know.
It's definitely
or
not
Harley
clear,
Race.
Anyway.
No.
What did you think of the little segment of Lillian interviewing Edge before the match?
Bit cringy.
I thought that when he went and got the chair and started banging it, her reaction was like so fucking good. Like, she acted completely terrified of this giant man with his chair, and I think it happened to like make the thing a little bit more what's the word? I don't know, realistic or something. Like, I felt like this, right, Edge knows that there are going to be nooks, but Edge isn't afraid to play dirty either, and he's got a chair, and he's going around scaring, women with this chair. But I thought her reaction was really, really good. Like, she just sold it really well.
I wonder how much she knew about that.
Yeah, I wonder, yeah. Maybe she didn't sell it at all. Maybe Edge literally terrified her. But he ended it by saying, "Tonight, sunshine, I say the devil gets burnt." And the only problem I have with that is that I hate it when people say burnt instead of burned. I don't know why. I just don't like...
That's a Canadian thing.
Is it? But they do it in England too. Like, they say spoilt instead of spoiled. I just...
Oh, yeah. They do that.
Not into that at all. Just say the word properly. That's my only thing I have to say about that segment.
Oh, I found it a bit stupid that he would... Because I think the point about the Nux is that they're meant to be hidden, right?
Yeah.
The thing about a steel chair is you might kind of see it because it's a big fucking chair.
Not if he conceals it in his tights, though.
His giant jocks.
Yeah.
It's a rectangular shaped jocks you've got there, sir.
Well, I'm Canadian. It's fine.
Yeah. Nick Patrick shakes his head like, nah, I'm not falling for this one. Like, he would, if you, I suppose, armchair booking, blah, 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 but like, he would have just should have his own Nux.
Yeah.
Maybe like with a Canadian sort of emblem on him.
Would definitely be a
red.
better counter, yeah.
Yeah, and just say, "Tonight, sunshine, you're going to get clocked." And then he does the fist thing.
Yeah, that would.
And
be
then
better.
Lillian wouldn't have been as scared. And, you know, that's fine. You know, I'm nothing against making women scared on with my chair. But, you know, watch out. Oh yeah, when Ring comes out, I don't like the fact that he still doesn't have the full heel music.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, he's got this weird, like, remixed version of, like, an Iceman's theme, and he's broody and evil.
Yeah, and he's got that whole look going on of, like, this is beneath me.
All of these human beings, like, not a single one are on his level. Yeah, he just looks like he's just sick of everyone.
Yeah, that's totally it, yeah.
Mind you, though, Josh said he's had about 59 surgeries in the last 2 days, or whatever the fuck.
That's right, yeah. What was it? Was it 4 surgeries?
I think it's 3 or 4, yeah.
In 3 days or something, yeah, for his nose. And then they make some Michael Jackson references because...
They do!
Funny.
Yeah, contemporary.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, he's had more surgeries than Michael Jackson. Well, number one, Michael Jackson... whatever, I'm being pedantic. So Edge comes out to Rob Zombie. He gets a fucking great reaction.
He does, yeah. He's really on here, and he looks great. Like Edge, I was watching like some footage from like '99 the other day, and Edge was there, and I've just come to the conclusion that he has never looked bad. He's always looked like he's in great shape.
Always, and he carries himself really well.
He does, yeah. He's got some serious swagger that is...
Yeah.
And it doesn't look out of place. It looks warranted. You're like, yeah, of course you walk like that. You're Edge. You're the man.
Exactly. So, like, with him, it's like everything... I mean, I'm sure he worked his balls off, obviously, throughout the years, but, like, everything to him just came quite naturally. And again, happens in this match, throughout the match. Like, he can do any style.
Yeah, totally.
He must be one of the most all-rounded wrestlers they've ever... Him and Christian, like, always Christian as well, like... They can do sort of cruiserweighty style, like fast-paced, technical. They can do brawling. They can do like good sort of reversal on reversal style. Just awesome. But fuck me, he gets the shit kicked out of him in this match.
He does, yeah. When Regal does that like half dragon suplex, Edge doesn't land clean, but like god damn, it looks so great. Like it's a really good display of like wrestling. I don't feel it should always look perfectly polished. Like you can get a little bit bored of that after a while. So like this match, like they're both really good technical wrestlers, but not everything comes off perfect, and that kind of makes the match better, I think.
Yeah, it's especially when Regal's in the ring, because it always comes across like a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, those knees that he does are so brutal.
Holy shit! When he does the jumping one.
Yeah. He looks like he's actively trying to just incapacitate his opponent at all times. And like I know it's an easy thing to say. We're talking about wrestling, and like this is the style of the heel and stuff. But Regal just has that edge of brutality about it. Like there's a more like sort of sinister style than like other heels who just do heel stuff, and it's very sort of cookie cutter. Regal really gets into the role, and he does. I also wanted to mention the strip search beforehand. Nick Patrick goes right into William Regal's trunk.
He goes right into his jocks, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's really unsettling, I think.
Yeah, but I suppose, I mean, storyline wise, I mean that's what it's coming down to.
Yeah.
You know, if you're Nick Patrick, you're like, I will have to give you a reach around. It's you've lied to me enough for me to not do this, and then it gets to the point where William Regal puts the knucks like in that space between like your balls and your bum, the gooch, and he has to go right in there and like, oh, there it is. I believe it's called the perineum.
That's pretty much what happens in this match.
It's just like long rubber glove, and just like, Mr. Regal, I've been expecting you, and he's like, oh god.
Oh dear.
In the ring, live. The Tiger Bomb was awesome. The fucking German suplex was insane as well.
Yeah. There was two things I didn't like. One was when I think Regal was coming back into the ring or something like that, but Edge covered Regal while his legs were under the rope, and Regal's arm was under the rope, and Nick Patrick counts to 2, and it's like it looks like he's motioning for a kick out. Or he's saying that, oh no, he goes like, your legs were under the rope, his arm was under the rope, something like that. But it's terrible because Nick Patrick clearly acknowledges that's happening before he goes for the cover, and then Regal kicks out, and it was just really like, I feel like everybody in the ring should have had better ring awareness than that. Like,
yeah, I think, see, that's the thing. When you get people like that, you expect it to be more, on that sense, the ring awareness. But it's like, yeah, that's when the kind of match kind of grinded to a halt.
yeah, totally, it
To
did. Yeah,
me,
it slowed down a lot.
yeah, but then, by the way, that's saying that it went from like a 7 to a 6 or to a 4 or something, and then it kicked up again. Like, it wasn't, oh, this match is fucking shit now. Like, it was, it was just a little clunky bit.
Yeah, a little lull in the middle.
Yeah, so Regal then gets the Regal stretch, and then Edge does this weird version of the Regal stretch.
It's so bad.
Is that as bad as The Rock's sharpshooter?
No, nothing is.
No.
Or seen as STF, but it's not clean.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that Edge did wrong. Like,
yeah, did you ever see his weird submission move? It was like the Edge clock or something. It wasn't that. It was like
the Edge clock.
If it wasn't that, it should have been that. Because he's got the Edge-o-matic and all that shit. It's like he goes kind of do a sharpshooter, turns you halfway.
Oh, yeah.
And then just sits on you. And it's like kind of like a Texas Cloverleaf as well.
It's sort of like
so
Paige's
fucking painful.
Submission a little bit.
Yeah, it's got a bit of that. It's one of those that like the person in it can like barely tap because of the way their body is positioned.
That was a cool move, yeah.
Oh, I thought you should have gone with that more. Especially when it was like when he had to shoot Taker and Taker had the Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
It would have been cool for him to be like, oh, that's your submission move, here's mine. Maybe they did that, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either, but...
I'm just literally describing something that I saw.
Yeah, you're saying they should have done this more.
They're like, yeah, we did. Oh, fuck off.
They should have had Regal use the Nux more in that time.
Yeah. What did you think about Edge using the spear? I don't think we talked about that.
So, I love Edge. I think at the start of this match we bigged him up enough for me to be able to say that his spear is objectively the worst spear out of every spear.
It's like the walk spear.
It's so bad. Like, Goldberg is like one of the reasons I started watching wrestling, and Goldberg's spear is ridiculous.
It's like the American football, like, tackle.
Man. There's no way that doesn't hurt when you take that. And then there's Rhino with the gore, and like same applies there, really.
Mows you down.
These are brutal moves, and I think Edge's one is just very, very, very tame in comparison. It's I don't know if it's that he does it with his left arm, and like it's almost like he's going to run and put you into a roll-up pin. You know that way that they run across their body?
Yeah, to sneak under.
Yeah, but he doesn't put like enough momentum going forward. I think he's afraid of hurting his opponent, because Edge is quite good at like any style of wrestling, like we said. So I don't think it's that he's unaware that this is not how to do a spear. It's just I think he just doesn't want to hurt his opponent, and that's got to be it. But it's very like tame looking.
Yeah. Well, two things about that. Like, one, it's fine if it wasn't a finisher.
Yeah.
And two, like, I suppose because it is a finisher, it's just kind of undermining what I just said. Because it is a finisher, I don't know how many people would be lining up to take Goldberg's spear or the gore, and that's probably why in the Fed, anyways, none of them got a proper push.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's the same reason why RVD never got a... I mean, one of the reasons why he never got a proper push is because he kicks, and he's very stiff the way he kicks, and he, in the 5-star Fox Bash, fucking canes, apparently.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Because he's putting all of his weight down, and, like, if you're a top guy, yeah, you'll wrestle him, but, like, you don't want to be kicked in and day out, like, right in the face.
Yeah.
So, you just politic... I mean, it sounds horrible, but it makes sense, like, your body is your, sort of, your career, so you want to keep that shit intact as long as you can. But like, I think it was a couple of months before this, that triple threat, which was RVD, Kurt Angle, and Austin, and holy shit, RVD just kicks the fuck out, and he's over as fuck at that point, but he kicks the living hell out of both of them, and you can see, like, from our point of view, it's like, yeah, that's awesome, he's so fucking cool, and he does all these kicks and shit, but from their point of view, they're like, both of us have neck problems.
Yeah.
Well documented neck problems here, so maybe watch out, sort of thing. But
even the Rolling Thunder, a move like that, there's no way that doesn't hurt. Like
No.
he's tumbling on top of you right there. He's doing a somersault onto your stomach, and like yeah, they move their arms up to brace for the impact and stuff. But like there's no way that's not gonna make you feel less healthy than just before you took that move. Like you're gonna get up, you're gonna be like it's gonna be more difficult to breathe and move around quickly and stuff. Like
Yeah, I always think that. Which is also why I don't think RVD's matches tend to. I mean, again, someone could probably easily prove me wrong, but I don't think his match has gone for too long after he hits the 5-star.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so.
So either hits it or he wins, either hits it or there's like a interference or a DQ or something, or he just doesn't hit it at all during that match. They duck out or they do like an RKO as he's flying down.
Yeah.
Because, that kills, really does. But yeah, no, back to Senor Regal and Senor Edge. So he does his fear, ref takes it, kindly takes it for William Regal. Brass knuckles to the head.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and
Jerry Lawler does some great heel work when this is happening, and he's just acting completely oblivious to the fact that Nooks were used. And JR is like, what? Come on! And Jerry Lawler is like, oh, is he going to get the tree? Oh, yeah, he did. Oh, he just had to adjust himself, JR. You must have X-ray vision if you think anything happened. Edge purposely speared the ref to try and get disqualified. It's so good. He acts so oblivious.
I love that mentality.
It's so good because it's so effective. It's like internet trolling, where it's like, it's like you know deep down that there's no way this person believes this, but you cannot help but argue with it. Like, he's so good at that. And then Michael Cole comes down, and he's wearing a lot of jewelry. What's that about? It's so weird.
Very weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like there's another bit as well where Jerry Lawler says he wants to use the power of the punch on JR.
That's right, yeah. That's very strange.
Openly admitting he wants to punch the man he's working with.
There's a point later on as well where he says he has a framed picture of JR kissing Vince McMahon's ass above his bed.
Yeah.
So
that's so disrespectful.
This is a man of questionable ethics, I would say.
No, I do like. See, here I think is heel commentary. It's kind of borderline. This is when he's just about to go babyface. I think full babyface. But like, so you kind of have two schools of heelnishness in commentary. You've got the Jesse Ventura way, which I think he's the best, bar none, the best heel commentator I've ever heard. Because his whole, I think we talked about this last time barely, but his whole mentality is, if you tried and failed, it's okay to cheat.
Yeah.
And you can apply this to William Regal on this match. He tried to beat him fair and square, and he knocked down the ref. Well, he's like, well, fuck that. I'm going to hit him with this and win. Therefore, proving your point that you're like, because in the argument of Regal or Jesse or their sort of thinking is, I just basically was cleverer than you because I cheated first.
Yeah, and that's a much more acceptable way of mapping it onto WWE, because I think WWE... what it really does ineffectively is book heel champions, and that's obviously one of the things that
heel psychology.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're obviously going to go through that a lot in this arc that we're doing at the moment, but a lot of people are really critical of Seth Rollins' title run because it made him look so weak. And there was a really good point in SummerSlam, I think it was, or was it Survivor Series? I'm not sure. But he had two matches in the same night. One was against Cena for the US title, and one was against Sting. Yeah. And he came out against Cena. He did the best he could. Cena beat him. And Rollins was heel. It was quite clear they were going for Rollins is going to eventually turn on Triple H and complete his redemption arc. But it didn't happen because of injury. But this whole thing going on of Rollins trying really hard against Cena. He tried his best. He couldn't do it. He did the same thing against Sting. Obviously, he beat Sting. But he put on a really good performance, and the commentators were like, oh, it turns out he actually can do these things and stuff. It's like if they did that the whole way through it, instead of having every match end in ridiculous scenarios where they have to come up with new ways, like bringing people down from ringside, or bringing people like J&J
Jon
Security.
Stewart.
Yeah, Jon Stewart and stuff like that. It's like they have to get creative for the wrong reasons there, where if they actually tried to book him in some different way, because there haven't been, apart from Triple H, Brock Lesnar, maybe like Umaga, Mark Henry, those types of monster guys, every single heel is booked as a coward.
Yeah, especially on their first title reign.
Yeah, completely. And it's like tired. It's a tired arc, and it's something that people are just not that into, and it's something that gets the most amount of complaints about someone's title run. So if they just did it where people are going to try as hard as they can, like I think they kind of tried it even with Jericho in the main event of this pay-per-view. We'll get into that, like, obviously as we go on, but yeah, it's something that WWE is in the dark about, and they need to move on, I think, and figure out how to book heels better.
On the flip side of that, we'll get into this later as well. Like, they don't know they don't know that bad guy can also be tough.
Yeah.
But then again, Undertaker's booked quite well, so I guess they do get it with certain people. But that's more like the person rather than if Undertaker won the title, all of a sudden he's either a coward that just barely wins even as a heel, or he's crying respect. They all say respect. CM Punk did it, Bryan did it in his first heel, Seth Rollins probably did it.
Jericho even in this
Jericho definitely does it a lot. Miz, probably Jack Swagger as well. Randy Orton is just odd, but a little bit on the match as well. William Regal's first English wrestler to win the IC title since Bulldog.
Oh yeah, he would have been
back in. Well, I'm sure. I don't know if he won it just the once, but he definitely won it at Wembley.
Is that 95?
2.
Oh,
Looked
really? 92. Wow.
Yeah. The Shell. You go watch that. The Shell tracksuits will leave you very impressed with the state of England. Fucking awful. So, yeah, next up we have, I don't know if I missed anything, but next up we have Jackie Moore and her breasts.
Yeah.
They've come to referee.
That's right. And Jerry Lawler is like, why can't all referees dress like that, JR? Ah! And JR is like, you want to see Earl Hebner dressed like that?
By God, Earl Hebner should dress like that. And he's like, why? And then, because that's the problem with their comedy. Sometimes it hits sort of like a cul-de-sac when they're like, we don't know where else to take this now.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Let's talk about the match.
Yeah.
And then generic rock music hits. It's jazz.
Yeah.
So it's weird that he didn't do an angle with Taz and they just kind of say each other's names.
Yeah, it seems like a missed opportunity. Even if they could realistically just say they're related to or something like that, like make Jazz Taz's cousin. Or maybe that would be too tacky even for Vince McMahon. I'm not too sure, but they both have the whole tough. Like, don't talk a lot, do a lot of throwing people around. I'm very tough, that kind of thing. Yeah. They're quite similar in that sense.
You could have. Obviously, it wouldn't work for what's happening now because she's fighting Trish, but could have had her come out with him in the beginning. As kind of like, oh, here's our Duchess of Dudleyville.
The Duchess of Taz and Spikeville.
Exactly, the Duchess of New York.
Yeah.
Because it's basically what they did with the Hollies, wasn't it? Because you had Crash, what's the other guy? Bob, Hardcore. How can I forget him? And then you had Molly Holly.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like bringing, but I don't know. Maybe they were just. I just find it weird that because even though I said Jackie Moore, she's not called Jackie Moore. She's just called Jacqueline.
Yeah.
I never understand why women don't have last names.
Yeah,
in this,
nobody has last names now. Like
Emma,
everybody is
Paige,
one name now. Like Neville used to be Phil Neville. Adrian, yeah, I knew it was Adrian. Neville.
No, it was Gary. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was their dad, Neville.
Neville.
Yeah, but
yes, true.
Yeah, they take everyone's all their names away from them, and it's very strange. But yeah, Jacqueline. Yeah, Sable. Molly Holly has two. Trish Stratus, but Lita is just Lita.
Trish Stratus is a weird name.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's different. Because I think her name is like Patricia.
Yeah.
So Trish from there. And her last name is like a Greek name. It's like a long-ass name.
It's like it's like Strasilopoulos or something, yeah.
Yeah, so it does have that. So I guess they just went, bit of this, bit of that.
Yeah.
Put on a cowboy hat. That rhymed as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, didn't realize.
It's a good marketable name, Trish Stratus.
Yeah. And she gets full name every time. And that's why she's the head of the division, basically.
And also because she's like literally the most beautiful woman that's ever stepped foot in the planet of Earth.
At this point? Do you think that at this point, though?
Yes.
I still think she's yes. I still think she's on too much bimboness. I don't like.
Yeah.
Something about that cowboy hat. I don't.
I
I don't know.
agree 100%, but I still just I don't know. When I look at her face, I can see through that, and I'm like, I don't know. There's just a ridiculous looking face there. It's just a ridiculous portrait of beauty, and
Yeah,
yeah,
perfection in a
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. I thought this about Jackie Moore though. Even though she's kind of like, obviously her ref shirt's quite exposing and stuff like that. I find that like she looks quite lovely.
Yeah. I got that impression too, and I didn't have that as a kid because when I used to watch WCW mainly, I'd switch over to Raw the odd time during the Attitude Era with like Mark Merrow and Sable and stuff, and Jacqueline
Oh,
would
that
get the
one
odd.
storyline.
Yeah, exactly. And I always thought that she seemed more like how Jazz seems here, like she seems rough and like she'd kick the fuck out of you and stuff. But this like refined version of Jackie, like yeah, she seems really awesome. Like you'd go and have a beer with her and she'd be really nice. Like
Yeah, because that's what she was doing. Like at this point a year ago, she's like hanging out with the APA
yeah,
and
that's
kind of
right.
just
Yeah.
drinking and chilling with them, and like she has a vibe of sort of like a trainer as well. Not that she's like, I'm sure she's still only in her early 30s, but by WWE standard, that's like you're done as a woman.
Yeah.
But yeah, like as a woman, as a woman wrestler, not as an actual full woman.
Not entirely, but you know they at least think a percentage of that is true.
Yeah, you're done. You've peaked and you're out of here. That's why most of them like mid-30s they all leave.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is always a shame because then you can never train and get the next generation ready.
Yeah.
Up until obviously NXT, and then that they got Sarah Del Rey and all these little people, but that's what they do now as well. They bring back like Mickey James and Lita and Trish and all them to be like, can we actually train these new people? Because you can't just have a constant influx of roster changes and not expect the fact that sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll hit like really good wrestlers, but other times you won't because there's no such thing as like the female WWE style.
Yeah, exactly.
The 3-minute match was up until like 5 years ago. So like now they're actually creating something for other girls and women to look back on and say like, that match, that Sasha Banks versus Charlotte match, that's why I want to be a wrestler. That's kind of the shame about this time period is like imagine if you're a girl and you're a female fan, if you're a fan of the females division, you just must be like, well, I guess that's my 5 minutes.
Yeah, or are you supposed to be like, all right, I'm gonna grow up to be like a slutty woman because that's what gets women over in this era? Like,
Yeah.
it's really strange. And another thing about the fact that they just let them go before the women's division never really evolved at all. When you look at it now, some of the women that are there, back in the day wouldn't have been considered that great, like Naomi, but like. If you watch any Naomi match now, like she's so well improved, like she's got like such a sense of purpose in the ring. And the same way, I'm not sure which Bella it is, but everyone always, I think it's Nikki.
It's the one with Cena, Nicole.
Yeah, so everyone talks shit about her all the time. Anytime there's a Nikki Bella match on, people are like, oh, why are they using her instead of some other woman? Like, I'm telling you, for about 2 years now, she has been really solid in the ring. She had a match with Stephanie a few years ago, and I think it might have been at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
She was absolutely awesome. Like, she played her part so perfectly, and people on Twitter were just shitting all over it. And it's just like, once the fans have that image of you in their head, it's really hard to get out. But considering how...
look at her husband.
Yeah.
Her soon-to-be husband. Like, the man is putting on 5-star matches. And I think the thing is to boo him or her is like the cool thing.
Yeah.
But it's when, I don't know if you remember this, it's one of those Raws after WrestleMania, when they get all rowdy and they're all like, we chant what we want, and it was like cool maybe the first couple of times, and it was kind of like, okay, so now you do this, so it's kind of like, it's not as organic. There's a 6 Divas match. I think they might have been on the borderline of not calling them Divas anyways, but they're still called Divas then. And they were saying stuff like, you suck Cena, you suck Brian.
Jesus
it's like,
Christ.
Like, we all like a bit of banter and stuff, but you wouldn't do that the other way around, would you?
Yeah.
That's the male gaze.
You wouldn't degrade a male wrestler by going like, you wouldn't say to Triple H like, you fuck China, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or to CM Punk like, you fuck AJ.
Yeah.
they wouldn't do that. So and that's the same thing about this match coming up as well. Like, I mean, because Jazz kind of brings some toughness into it, but it feels like when you watch women wrestle, especially during this time period, it is literally the male gaze.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
100%.
how we, or them, I should say, not we, because let's not put ourselves in that. That's how I look at it. But no, it's like it's their bit tarty, bit of a flirt, you know. And if they're not a bit of a flirt, they're kind of cunty to you, like that sort of vibe of male identity. It's teenagers, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Give me attention, don't give me attention, then you're an asshole, sort of thing. But yeah, Jerry Lawler's a fucking creep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Match.
Yep, he's just terrible.
He's like, purple puppies, and JR's like, purple puppies indeed. This is like, ugh.
JR is like,
breasts.
Yeah, you're sort of sitting there like, I understand what it's like to be in JR's position, because a lot of my friends are #lads, and sometimes I have to sit in the pub around a table of #lads just saying these completely terrible things, and I can't white knight for every woman that I've never spoken to. You know what I mean? And JR definitely can't do that live on air, and also it's probably a mentality that helped WWE at the time, but yeah, purple puppies indeed.
Yeah, that's the other guy in the pub who's a bit like, well, I can't pick this fight every single time, be like this pedantic and this like, come on. It turns out, you know, funnily enough, people that you say that shit to, they've got feelings as well, and like you can do that every now and then, because I suppose you got to pick and choose when to like be the, come on guys, can we, you know, for them you're basically being anti-fun.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, you're just being fair and right.
You're being a stick in the mud. Like, you're just being a... and whenever you take that angle, those people will always come back to you and say, oh, what are you trying to be all moral about it? It's like, I'm not trying to be moral, I'm just trying to say what I think. But the fact that you've brought this into the moral landscape says a lot about what you think about what you're saying.
Yeah, about what morals is and what morals isn't.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They'll do that whole, like, there's no women here, we don't have to be proper, and it's just like, oh, okay, but there's a way. I mean, again, I'm not inventing language, I'm not inventing how, I would never tell someone how to be, but it's like, there's a way that you can compliment people, you can compliment women, compliment anybody, without going into that borderline of like, you are a sex object.
Yeah.
and that's all you are, and that's basically every single thought in my head for the opposite gender is, can I fuck? Can we fuck? So that's basically with wrestling. It's like full circle here, but it's like Trish would bang everyone in this crowd. Trish, you have to go out there and basically, you know, tits out for the lads.
Can you imagine if Triple H
and Lawler will like it?
Can you imagine if Lawler was like, wow, Triple H is in really good shape. Lots of women are going to want to fuck him tonight.
Yeah, look at his package. Look at that package, Lawler. Look at that package. And he's just like, yeah, big package indeed. Yeah, it's the same thing, yeah. Like, you know, if fucking Undertaker comes out and Joe's like, look at Undertaker's ass. I would, and it's just like, fuck me. Oh, the world, everyone would go crazy. You know?
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be quite funny. It was like, keep rolling. The most beautiful ass in the World Wrestling Federation. By God, what an ass. Why can't they do that? Why can't they be equally offensive? Because then, the thing is, though, if they're equally offensive, then it's fine. Because you're just shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I fucking, I don't know, Booker T comes out, he's like, look at those gorgeous dreads. Look at that hair. No, never that. But
you gotta say, this is one fine-looking man.
You've got to admit, fans, he is beautiful. Yes, that's the help. Yes, gorgeous. Booker, you look fucking great.
Oh, Jesus.
Austin there with the black trunks and the black knee pads. Tell you what, folks, he looks like a dish.
That is one. That is an aesthetically pleasing look.
That right there, fans, is the best looking man I have ever seen in this business.
I wouldn't mind spreading some good old JR barbecue sauce on those saps.
Like, you know when Stacy's coming out and it just cuts to Lawler,
Yeah.
like does the same reaction as fucking like Big Show comes out, like woohoo! It's the Big Show.
You know why they call him the Big Show, JR?
His penis. And he's like, fuck me.
Oh Jesus!
Lines across. Yeah.
We really ran that into the ground, didn't we?
We did.
Rode that
Keep
train
it all
to
in,
the end
though.
of the line. Yeah, that's definitely all staying in.
Cut that. Yeah, so Trish wins. I actually didn't think she was gonna win.
Neither did I. Did you catch the leg drop from Jazz that was like really fucking smooth and really well executed?
Yeah, she gets quite a lot of height on it.
Yeah.
Looks fucking painful.
Yeah, it
Like
looks...
when she hits it.
It's better than anything Hulk Hogan has ever done in the ring, pretty much.
Isn't that weird though that his leg drop was shit, but like he fucked up his hip doing it about 100 times a year.
Know, yeah. But like I've spoken to this like huge wrestling fan. He's like 65. I met him on some internet forum or whatever. I mean, I don't know this guy personally. He's a wrestling fan I spoke to one time. What a disclaimer. Anyway, he was talking about how like
is this in case he gets into legal trouble? So I don't know the guy. Whatever he does beyond this conversation, it's his own problem.
Nothing to do
only
with
know
me.
him from the forum. What did he say though?
He said the leg drop by Hulk Hogan at the time was really, really innovative. Like, it was the type of move like you'd see the odd time in the Indies, or well, it wasn't called the Indies at the time; it was called the Territories or whatever. But,
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan doing that leg drop, like that was serious. Like, that was a really, really new, fresh move that, like, you know, it showed how diverse his moveset was and stuff like that. So
that's nuts.
That's how wrestling evolves, I guess. Though, like everyone's doing super kicks now, like it's nothing, and you know that's HBK's finisher. So,
and it is like the finisher as well. It's
Yeah.
it's probably my favorite finisher because like my favorite finishers are basically ones you can hit on anybody and you can put on anybody.
yeah, I totally get you.
And that was always the one with the super kick. But now, I mean, now everybody does it. But, you know, I'm guessing until people move on from... I mean, it's like the DDT as well. Everyone start doing it. Or the elbow drop from the top rope. And that Macho Man elbow drop. Like, it changes and it evolves, I guess. I guess a finisher now is whatever they say it is. And that's what it is.
Yeah, like you see sometimes someone does a Batista bomb on someone... But because it's not the finisher of either man in the match, it's only a 2 count.
Yeah.
The ending of this match was pretty cool with Jackie hesitating and not counting because she felt like she was responsible for Trish being in that predicament. And then
I like that. Yeah.
it was good. Yeah. And then Trish hit the Bulldog and King called it the Stratisfaction, but it was not. It was just a Bulldog.
It was just a Bulldog and. Thankfully, there was no sexual name to that.
Yeah.
Because puppies, bulldogs. I thought he was going to go there with that joke.
Yeah.
The flying puppies, and it's just like, yeah, cool.
Correct.
But yeah, she won, and guessing this feud's going to carry on.
Yeah, looks that way.
I'm predicting a rematch next month at NWO.
AKA
Spoiler alert.
No Way Out.
Spoiler alert. Ric Flair.
The Consortium!
Is me! He is a one-man consortium.
Yeah, that's right.
I've looked... I mean, I understand, right? I looked into this, believe it or not, since we recorded last time. And I do understand that, like, you can have a head of a consortium. But that's not what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying that I am the consortium.
Yeah, which if that were the case and he had like fabricated other members of this consortium, that's illegal. Vince can block that investment. So
yeah,
you know,
and whoever allowed is mad because it's like you're Ric Flair. you shouldn't be running a company, but apparently he has 50% of it.
You shouldn't be running a company at all with your history of bankruptcy and
divorces and like mad scenes. No, I like the fact that he's wearing a suit now, which is good.
Yeah, he's Ric Flair again. Yeah,
He's found himself, which is very good.
Yeah, it's great to see.
I quite like the video package here.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I love any time where I get to hear him say, "The consortium is me!"
And Vince is I love the hand on the ear, like, oh my god. But
Yeah.
it's weird because during the build up, like this is the thing I find about Vince. Every time Vince wrestles, he's portrayed completely different. Sometimes like he's the ass kicker, he's the CEO, like which they do here, and then other times he's like barely a person, so he has to be like in a handicap, and someone else has to help him.
Yeah, it's like I think the way it works is that if you wear a suit, you lose all your superpowers as a wrestler, right? So like if JBL comes out wearing a suit and he gets clotheslined by Bray
He's dead.
Wyatt, that's it. He's dead. He's down for the count. But
Hmm.
if he's there in wrestling gear, he's got a lot more fight in him. Vince McMahon in a suit, punch him once, KO'd. Vince McMahon coming out in wrestling bodybuilding gear, he's gonna fuck you up.
he's
So
yeah, he's a demon.
yeah,
I like the fact that Flair challenged him with a punch.
yeah, that was good. Yeah,
Uh, he's like, who's gonna fight me, Vince McMahon, and my balls? He mentions his balls for some reason.
that's just Vince McMahon all
It's
over,
me and
really,
my
isn't it?
balls versus you.
And JR is like, God damn, they're the most beautiful balls.
If I was being objective, King, which I am, I would say his balls are gorgeous. Yep, Vince McMahon. But no, yeah, so he clocks him, and then Vince comes out dressed as Flair. I swear I've seen that footage loads of times, and I was trying to figure out where from. They fucking kept that as Vince's Titantron for about 10 years.
Did they really?
They kept his Titantron the same until he got his head shaved. And that's when they
Yeah.
changed it, because it's like he looks significantly different. Significantly different. I can't even say that. But yeah, like, he looks awesome as Ric Flair. He does the head shake. Hilarious. And then he jumps like a baby all over it after he beats up Flair with a pipe.
Yeah.
And then comes probably the weirdest line of the night. He saying that destroying lives turns him on.
I feel like Vince McMahon conflates sort of brutality and sexuality an awful lot. Like, it sort of feels like it's the only way he knows how to show how evil he is to be like, I get sexual pleasure from doing bad things to people.
It's very visceral.
Yeah,
Very,
it is. Yeah, it is.
it's because you could just say, I love destroying people's lives. I love destroying consortiums, and you're a fucking consortium.
Yeah. And the consortium is you.
It's you. It should have been, in the consortium is us.
Yeah.
Me and you, as in Flair and Vince. But yeah, no, he says destroying lives turns him on, and then like Flair, this is still in the package. I don't think it's even in the match. He fucking clocks him under the eye, and he's like bleeding,
Yeah.
and it looks nasty.
That looks like it happened just randomly. Like he didn't actually blade.
Yeah, it looks hard way.
Yeah.
Wheel. But yeah, it looks quite intense. And Vince McMahon does the pipe, and then you get reminded again that he gets sexually turned on by destroying lives.
Yeah.
And holy shit, does Ric Flair get a big reaction?
Oh my god, it's insane.
So that's when I connected it was WCW City, because I was like,
Yeah,
he is
yeah.
over.
They don't pop at once. Like, they all just rise to celebrate his entrance. And he comes out in that Playboy bathrobe, looking more like Slick Rick.
Yeah.
What I was thinking, I didn't even recognize the WCW thing. I just thought the fans are probably happy to see him because it's been so long, and that they didn't know that they would be seeing way too much of him for the next 30 years or whatever.
That's
He's still, he's probably, in 13 years, Ric Flair is still gonna be out there wrestling. Like, I don't know. I remember like trying to watch wrestling in like 2008 and seeing Flair in a cage match and just think, what the fuck is this? Like, how is this happening?
Yeah, no, that was he's got his I guess this is gonna timestamp us now at a very specific time, so you don't have to put this out. But he's got his documentary coming out on the 30 for 30.
Oh yeah.
It's like 30 documentaries with 30 different directors, and they go like seasons, and it's like big sporting events. They did the OJ one. Really looking forward to Ric Flair's one, because it's basically a documentary outside of the Fed, which means that you get actual truth about whatever the fuck.
He's apparently had a really fucked up life.
Oh, completely fucked up life. I saw him in this feud with Arn Anderson, right? And he talks about like, and it gets kind of real. And he's like, me and you from broken homes, you never knowing your dad, me never knowing my family. I was adopted, blah 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 blah. He's it. He's seen things and he's lived through also the plane crash and all that madness as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Really depressing as well because his kid's here, Reed.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah.
the one who passed away. So that's really depressing as well. Not too sure who the other girl is. I thought it would have been a really young Charlotte, but she's younger than Reed, so it definitely wasn't her.
Yeah, it's strange. Maybe she's an actress filling in for Charlotte.
Yeah,
Like they do in soap operas. Just get a
pretend
different
she's of
person.
age. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
she would have been. I mean, if they let her out there, what she was about to see was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
It's Flair's first match in the Fed since 1993.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is full circle right there. It's so weird though, because it's like obviously between those 9 years, no one would even. I imagine this actually comes to the point you made that they wouldn't think they'd see him, because I reckon when they bought the tickets for it, because obviously the tickets go on sale like I think it's like November, October, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think Flair was even a character at the time.
Yeah, you're right. He wasn't. He hadn't appeared in the Fed at all because he wasn't involved in the invasion angle.
No, he came right after. He came in December or something, and
Yeah.
that's what led to the unification thing. Because they were kind of like, well, we want to make one champion, even though it's about to be split in about 6 months from this point. But
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, basically, Ric Flair bought his kids to see him bleed.
Yeah, Ric Flair is a world-class bleeder, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Nobody bleeds like this man.
Yeah, and then Vinnie Mac comes out.
He looks like he ate
terrifying.
Shane McMahon on his way out. The dude
He
is
looks
like fucking, I don't know, 5 times the size of what you would expect him to
Scary.
look like. Yeah, it is. It's really scary. How is his heart not exploded? I don't understand.
Because he's superhuman, isn't he? He's not.
Absolutely is, yeah.
He's not like us here in the human world. He's got his massive vein on the side of his arm.
Yeah.
And the last person I saw who had veins that big was Eddie Guerrero in 2005, like before he died, by 6 months before he died, where Eddie was huge.
Yeah, Eddie was humongous.
And I think Vince had a bit of back knee, which means I think he was definitely banging the roids.
Yeah, I would say so. Given just the WWF's history with steroid usage, you would imagine that Vince was definitely into that.
He was on it. Because I think, I don't know if this time they even had a policy of testing, because it wasn't until Eddie and Benoit they really cracked down on that shit. But non-performers don't get tested.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Or their results don't go towards everything else. So Vince can just go on and off cycle whenever he wants.
Besides, nobody's going to test him anyway.
No, yeah, who's going to test him? Like, you can just be like, no, I'm the owner.
I liked that in this match towards the very start when Ric Flair's Band-Aid fell off to reveal that there was no need for him to have a Band-Aid at all.
Was that on his elbow?
Yeah.
And yeah, Lawler's like, there goes the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what's it covering?
Nothing.
Do you reckon that's where he had his blade?
No, I actually don't think so. Like,
He doesn't have any tape on him.
he might have. Aren't blades generally slipped to them by the refs though?
Oh yeah, I suppose because sometimes they put them on their wrist tape.
Yeah, that's right.
Because obviously you wouldn't put it down your jocks. Because
No.
you basically, you would bleed.
You
and
would.
it would be fucked up. And Nick Patrick wouldn't go in there.
Yeah.
I guess the ref has it and just hands it to him.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah.
I think he blades from being thrown back first into the guardrail.
I always look out for when they blade, but to be honest, they usually do it quite seamlessly.
Yeah.
Usually.
It's the camera that does the work, basically.
That's right, yeah.
Point away and then point back and then... did you see Vince's roid poses?
Yeah.
And Ric Flair almost broke character.
Yeah.
And he does the fucking strut as well, and they start chanting asshole. That's what I mean, like, the man just posed, and they're calling him asshole. That's the first chant of the night, like the first legitimate chant of the night.
Yeah,
That's get true. The tables, I think, for the Duds match. But, yeah, no, and Vince has some chops in him as well.
I like it when he picks up Flair and throws him onto the ground, and Jerry Lawler just goes, "A slam!"
Thing is, commentating Vince's match must be amazing.
Yeah, I'd say
Because
so.
he likes everything over the top, so you just have to be everything over the top, which is great.
Jerry Lawler was actually class at marking out for Vince. Like, he was so over the top, and like, just he was a proper stan about it. Like, just
Oh yeah.
so impressed by everything. Vince. At one point, Jerry Lawler said a line that I remember hearing this at the time, and I have used it since. In fact, I think I've used it on my podcast to describe another guy on the podcast. But Jerry Lawler says, Vince McMahon has muscles in places where Ric Flair doesn't even have places.
I love that line.
So good, so clever.
I think he said that about Steiner as well.
Yeah, I'd say
which
so.
Which makes sense, obviously.
Because that's legitimately true.
Yeah. This might have been that quote and the other quote he always says, which is the one like of all the things he's lost, he misses his mind the most.
Yeah.
I think he said it here as well. I know he said it King of the Ring, and I always think that's like because most of his jokes are just shit. Like
and
that, those two are quite clever. Yeah, and he repeats them. Yeah, I think those two are quite clever, like little entendres there. But so the Vince roids up. I like that they're basically making the most out of simple moves.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of a slow burning match, but also it just looks really painful the whole way through. So there's like more payoff for what you're getting. Where usually in a slow match there's like lull moments with sleeper holes and stuff like that, but in this everything has
they just walk around.
But like they're bleeding, they're stumbling, Vince goes over to Flair's children and takes the camera and he's like, oh, take a picture on this.
Takes a fucking selfie, which is awesome. Not to mention as well, so the pace of the match, I was going to say, like, the crowd has a lot to do with it, because if the crowd was shit then it wouldn't be that enjoyable. But it's just because the crowd's into it. To me, like, I didn't realize this, because back in the day, I used to go on my exercise bike with the sound off, and I actually have my headphones in. So I'd be looking at wrestling, but I'd be listening to something else, and I'd be on the exercise bike. And everything just seemed quite lame. I think audio is very, like I think we talked about this last time, that audio is like, the crowd is probably the most important thing to make a wrestling match even better or worse.
It's going to be especially prevalent when we do the WrestleMania 18, one of the matches on that, which we won't reveal yet, but anyone who's seen it will know.
Christian.
The DDP Christian match, yeah. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
I think this is where their feud started, because I think he eliminates him later on.
I was thinking that.
Cheeky.
We'll get into it at the time, but shout out to DDP. What a guy.
Legend. Get him to do an intro, yeah.
I love when Ric Flair picks up a monitor off the table and he just picks it up and that's it. And Jerry Lawler's like, those are expensive monitors. It's like, how many times have you seen someone pick those up out of there, pal? But when Flair does it, you're like, oh, this is a disgrace.
Do you notice as well how Flair didn't, hit him? He kind of just ran at him while holding it.
Yeah, Flair for a moment just got very loose, and I would say it's because he had lost a pint of blood at that point.
I like the replay they did as well with the so the camera was pointing at the monitor he picked up, and it shows the replay on the monitor as you can see live as well.
Oh yeah.
I really like that. I'm surprised they don't do that more often, but it's a very rare shot to get of the monitor on the floor, sideways, showing that hit, and then whilst you see what's actually happening, but not a cutaway. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it's a tough idea to do, but yeah, it worked really well here.
As at this point, then, that Flair starts to be properly in control, so he goes back to his kids, and he fucking asks him to take a picture of him biting, bleeding Vince McMahon.
That's weird, and it looks like he does actually bite him, too.
Intense.
Yeah.
Looks very crazy.
Plus, did you see the punches he did to Vince, a few seconds before that? Where he had him in a headlock, and he is pound. Yeah, his closed fist is pounding into Vince's head, and you could hear it go
Yeah. I do love his punches though.
Yeah,
because he kind of he holds your chin, and then he does it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the Kurt Angle about it. He can't do that back and forth. He just holds you up and just clocks you. I love it. I love his punches.
Yeah, they are really good.
So fucking good. Bunch of low blows as well we get.
Of course, the dirtiest player in the game.
Yeah, and then, I should mention as well that Vince put on the figure 4 at one point.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
No, it was not. It looked like Flair could just lift up his other leg and just go, yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, I think that's the point, isn't it? He's not meant to be a wrestler.
Yeah. The
So
when Flair hits Vince with that pipe, the sound is insane.
That honestly reminds me of the match Vince had with Hogan about a year later from this, WrestleMania 19.
Oh yeah.
With the pipe as well, and he clocks Hogan so fucking hard. And there's that one shot where like he's got kind of, I think you must have seen it. So you got the ring apron, and Vince just slowly crawls up, and he's bleeding, and he actually looks like the devil.
Oh yeah, that used to be your fucking display picture on MSN.
Yes, that's see. Oh my god, I love that image so much, just because it's like timing, the context, it's all there of like he's evil, he's got something. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Truly brilliant.
Yeah, but both are bleeding like absolute maniacs. Figure 4, Vince is actually screaming like a fucking demon.
Vince's tap out is pretty convincing too. Like he just slams the mat in the only way that he. Yeah.
Flair wins. What a match! I think it's like 15 minutes. I think I looked this up. It's 15 minutes. It honestly flew by for me watching this one.
I thought it was a little bit too long.
You think?
Yeah, I was entertained by it. I especially loved that the crowd were into it. Like that helps it a lot. But with such few sort of technically great set pieces, I think it's hard to get into. It's hard to get into two guys sort of punching each other and then doing these little moves that take a long time to come off and stuff. I like it didn't have a whole lot of urgency, and I think it sort of lost something because of that. But I did really enjoy it. I just wouldn't give it like match of the night or anything like that.
Yeah. I suppose there's nothing on the line as well. I guess they didn't do the whole ownership thing.
Yeah,
it was more about pride, I guess. But I thought for these two, because these guys have never even looked at each other, and let alone wrestle at this point, like ever. So I suppose they wouldn't have like perfect chemistry. Something else I picked up that after the match, like this hit me. The match is actually 2 matches in the same order. So everything that Vince does in the first half of the match, Flair then does as the second half of the match.
No
the exact
way.
same moves. Not the exact same moves. So like Vince does chops, Flair does chops later. Vince hits him with a pipe, Flair hits him with a pipe later.
Yeah.
Vince does the picture, Flair does the picture.
Vince does the figure 4.
Figure 4,
Yeah.
Flair then does the figure 4. Flair bleeds when Vince is in control. Then Vince bleeds when Flair is in control. They both get like low blows on each other. It's literally like, it's really weird that I feel, watching it back, I was like, it's like they both had 10 moves to do, and they both picked the same 10 moves.
Or Flair coached Vince through the match and was like, here, do the only moves that I've ever done in my career.
Yeah. He fucked up the going over the top rope thing as well.
Oh, he did, yeah. I remember that. It was awkward.
There you go. Yeah. And also the fact that Flair didn't tap out to Vince's figure 4, but Vince did to Flair. Like, Flair is the wrestler.
Yeah, true.
So his figure 4 will hurt you more than the other way around.
He's also the master of the figure 4.
He is. He really is. Although in his WWF career, you wouldn't see people tapping out that often, I don't think.
Nah, probably not.
Because obviously, he's wrestling and old.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your opportunity to win a one-of-a-kind WWP t-shirt, all you have to do is rate and review this show on iTunes. This t-shirt will be the only piece of WWP merchandise in existence. And all you have to do is click the link in the description to the iTunes feed, rate and review the show, screenshot your review, and send us the image. The winner will be announced at the WrestleMania 18 episode. WWP, slam it!
Up next, we have In Sync Michael Cole with his frosted tips.
Very strange.
He's having a chat with fucking Nick Patrick.
Yeah, this is so weird, right? Because of something else that's going to happen in the main event, but also because he's like, oh, Nick Patrick, have you had a chance to review the footage? And Nick Patrick just shakes his head while stroking his chin for a good 10 minutes.
As if like that's the first he's heard of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, we don't often recheck decisions around here, but okay.
It's so weird. It's like, I don't know. It just he reacts like as if he has a mental condition that inhibits him from social interaction, and it's really odd.
Yeah.
Like, who fucking reacts like that to anything?
That is like the classic, like, you know what they're gonna say, so you're like, okay, so I'm meant to react here, as opposed to just going, because when you're actually thinking, it's a little bit like, you know, when you say you're at a job interview and they ask you a question and you know the real answer to that question.
Yeah.
Suppose they go, you know, why would you want to work for our company? And you do the Nick Patrick face. You're like,
yeah. They're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you have a neon sign flashing in your head that says jail, jail,
yeah.
jail. But you're like, don't tell them jail.
Exactly that. Or like, why would you want to work here? And you're just seeing dollar signs, but you're like, I like a challenge.
Yeah, I enjoy the synergy of your company's marketing.
Yeah, that's the face he's pulling there.
Yeah, it's
like,
so weird.
What does Michael Cole want from me? What does Michael Cole want me to say?
It's like in cartoons when like the so I don't know, whatever character in an old school cartoon goes, but if he's here and you're here, then that means, oh boy. It's the oh boy part is what he has on his face. Like,
yeah,
I've been rumbled. Try and stall.
What do I think of that? Because, I mean, to stand up to poor old Nick here, I mean, this is later on, but to be fair, when have they ever gone and looked at any decision they've ever made?
Yeah,
ever.
It's just not a thing that they do. It's definitely not a policy and he's only come across from WCW as well, so like he's not in the habit.
He knows full well. Yeah.
But,
I mean, that place was like the house of the screw job, so he knows full well. He's like, didn't happen over there in the. He was part of the NWO.
Fucking hell!
Did you know this?
Name me an employee of that company that was not at some point in time a member of the NWO or the Wolfpack.
Ridiculous! Like, there's like one pay-per-view. It's like Sold Out '97. It's like the all NWO pay-per-view, and it's. If you're into heels, and if you're into, like, cool heels, go ahead and watch that. But if you're into, like, the idea of good and evil and yin and yang, you will end up... Like, I watched that show, and I was just so annoyed. Basically, every single face wrestler that comes out, they have, like, that... You know that guy that goes, this announcement was paid for by the NWO?
Yeah.
It's him doing the entrances, and then every now and then, he'll just go, Jericho sucks. Great. And have heel commentators, Nick Patrick's got a fucking bandana on.
Jesus.
And the weirdest bit is the NWO arrive in, like, fucking bin trucks as well.
Of course.
Like hanging out the back and just, like, hitting it. And it's just like, so it's cool to be homeless? What's your point here?
Had Die Hard with a Vengeance just come out? Maybe it's got something to do with that.
97. I mean, in wrestling years, that's about 97 is about 1981. So
yeah, that's true.
Probably not, because the rest of a decade behind. But no. Anyway, so Steph comes out.
Yeah, Stephanie arrives and is like, "Do you mind if I cut in here?" And Nick Patrick's like, "Yes," and walks away.
Yes, I will not make this decision.
Yeah.
Yes. She's like, but it's weird because she ushers him off. Oh no, he kind of ushers himself off. Like, he just leaves, and she's like, "You're dismissed." But I think there was a bit where you're supposed to say that. Then he was meant to go.
Yeah.
But he's already gone.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're dismissed," and the guy's like down the hall, like, "Cool,
thank you.
See you around." Sweet.
Yeah.
And yeah, she talks shit about everyone.
H. Yeah, she's like, "My husband, Triple H, is gonna destroy every other person in the Royal..." Is Austin behind me? No. Rumble match.
She's dragging it out. Also, not only that, right? I fucking hate this about the Rumble. Why does everyone assume they're going to throw out 29 men?
Everybody is going to come out and nobody will have been eliminated.
Yeah.
Only I can eliminate people.
I hate that. Like, it always does I mean, I'd love to see, those little backstage, I'd love to see a promo when someone goes like, yeah, at best, if I throw out 6 people, I'm number 25, so, maybe they've got from 20 onwards, but 10 people should be cool. Just a more realistic thing as well.
Yeah.
And before we get into that, I need to do a little, because I wrote this, I specifically went, say this out loud. Number 1 is not the hardest number. 2 is.
Yeah, that's true. That is 100% true. Because at 2, you run the risk of being clotheslined over the top rope straight away.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's already in the ring, and you're coming out. Like, obviously they always do that stupid thing where they'll, like, just stand, on the other side of the ring and be like, yeah, let's square off. But it's like, number 2 is actually the hardest number. And they never say that, because obviously it doesn't sound right, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't have the symbolism of, like, entering first against all odds. But yeah, number 2 is definitely harder.
If they just went like, 2 is the loneliest number. But yeah, Austin's behind there and he says, what? And I think this is a pre-tape. So they did it in the assumption that the fans are going to chant what? And they did.
Yeah,
and it's amazing.
They really, like, this was obviously when saying what was not the most annoying thing ever. Not that we think that, because we named this podcast after it. But it is really just the height of Austin's ability to, I don't know, like, this guy just owns every single crowd. Like, it's insane. But it gets to a point, I wonder about the whole saying what, because he's like, what's that? You don't know who's gonna win? What? Stone Cold? What? Stone Cold? What? I said Stone Cold. It's like, Michael Cole isn't saying what to you at this point, don't you? And yet you're explaining everything back to him as if it is he who's having difficulty comprehending what you're saying.
He's having a one-sided conversation.
Yeah, but it's really damn entertaining. It's so entertaining.
Like, he could just describe, like, as he does, I think, a couple of Raws in and around this, he just describes what he was up to.
Yeah.
During the day. He's like, I got up 4 a.m.
What?
Drank 17 beers.
What?
Murdered my wife. Oh, sorry. Too controversial. Didn't do that. What?
Destroyed my wife. That's fine.
Yeah. And another beer. What? And it just goes on and on. He's just basically like a man who's just going through his day. But I love it. And Michael Cole then smiles, and it's like the cringiest thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like after Stone Cold leaves, he has a sort of like, he's wacky. He has that sort of face about him. And I just want to punch him because he looks so fucking smug.
What is it like when Austin walks away and Michael Cole goes, the bottom line is one question? And Austin comes back, storming back up the corridor, and he's like, what?
Yeah, and that's when he does yeah, that's it. He does the one, and that's when he does the fucking. He's crazy. Isn't
this
Stone
guy?
Yeah. Get a load of this guy.
That's that. It. Yeah.
And it's just like, he's the best and literally the worst.
Yeah.
It's very much the worst.
Yeah, completely.
And Stone Cold's very much the best, but yeah, Rock and Jericho.
This is the vignette before this is cool when Jericho is sort of like, he's on the ramp, The Rock is in the ring talking about how he's got something that's enormous. The Rock is referring to his size 14 boot.
I bet when it was live he took a bigger pause.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can tell that that there was a lot of Jerry Lawler going ha ha.
Yeah, he would have gone, ooh, what is it, JR? And JR was like, his penis. So he does that.
When Jericho goes, no, this is not a joke. I am not a joke. I thought that was awesome. It was very
because
fitting
he is a joke.
Yeah, he's a huge.
That's the unfortunate bit. Yeah,
but you could hear pain in his voice. He sounded sincere. Like he was selling that story really, really well, and I really enjoyed it. It was class.
They didn't. Again, like, this is the same thing I felt with last pay-per-view. They didn't emphasize on, like, the enormity of winning the title. Of winning those 2 titles, I should say.
Yeah, they really didn't. And I feel like if it was Rock who did it, they would be talking about it forever.
You can still have the celebrations as a heel. Like the confetti and the whole... I think when Del Rio won the title, it was like a little I mean, it's quite racist, obviously, because obviously it has to be a Mexican party. It can't just be a party.
They had tacos coming out of the ceiling.
Yeah, like sombreros and the fucking. It's just like Christ. But they have that enormity of like, because that's when he won the world title, I think, the first time. And yeah, that's sort of like, this is huge. This is, this is a big deal. And then you could have The Rock come out and say, get fucked, I'm getting that title. Because I actually saw the Jericho's Coronation.
Oh, yeah.
It's the night after Vengeance, halfway through Raw. It's a 10-minute segment. The whole thing's on YouTube.
Flair
Jericho
just
comes
hands him
out.
the belts. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's
I had
exactly
to.
it.
I wasn't sure if I was watching the right clip because it was that bare. There wasn't even like a prop table in the ring, like just nothing. He walks out. Flair hands him the belts. He says some stuff, and like,
I want to thank the little people and the big people, and you all suck.
Jericho's really good. Like, he works the crowd really well. He says everything. Like, he's just Jericho's one of the best talkers ever in the biz.
Yeah.
But this Coronation thing was nonsense. It's just two guys in the ring cutting a regular promo. There's no like, I don't know, just there's no spectacle about it. It's just it's really undersold.
You even had Ric Flair there. You should have had. This is how I think it would have been best. And I'm thinking about this now. I didn't armchair book it. I think have Vince and Flair. And Flair says, this used to be the NWA title. It's the oldest title. Yada yada yada. Gives it to him. Then Vince says, fucking Buddy Rogers had this, and we had these unification matches in the 60s and the 70s, and you're the first person to hold them both.
Yeah.
Here you go. Take it.
Yeah.
And then Jericho did his promo, and maybe have confetti. But no, what happens is he's halfway through the promo, saying he's really good, and did beat Austin and Rock, and he gets booze, and Flair's like, you're in a match tonight. Against who? Stone Cold, and everyone goes nuts, and you're just like, oh, okay, so he literally had 5 minutes to celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad. There's even just the way the commentaries, the commentators sell the fact that he's champion. Like, if Jerry Lawler is the guy who wants Jericho to win here, and Jerry Lawler at times will say stuff like, you gotta admit, JR, Jericho's is doing really well here and stuff, and Jericho will be like, oh, he's a hellacious fighter, I'll tell you that. But they never say, like, when Brock Lesnar comes down to the ring now, every single time, JBL at ringside talks about, just rattles off his stats.
He's God.
He's a two-time NWA champion. He's a two-time pro amateur wrestler. He's taken these two titles and unified them. Then he went to UFC and he won the title there. He beat Randy Couture and all these things.
Ball game.
Yeah,
as he always says.
But there's none of that for Jericho. They don't ever reference the significance of both titles. They don't. They don't just talk about the big gold belt and its history, because it's sort of a foreign object in WWF at this point to the fans watching and stuff. They just never, they just don't emphasize the sensational aspect of him being the first ever undisputed champion, and it's really weird.
It's you're setting yourself up to fail, because not to mention as well that WWE now acknowledges if people do stuff outside. So, like, UFC didn't exist until Brock Lesnar came in.
Yeah.
To them. With Jericho, he's got so much history within that company. He's won every title. He's won every title in WCW other than the world title, I think. Or maybe the tag team title, whatever. You've got that archive of just, like, he's won this here, he's been here, he's won that here, he went to ECW, went to WCW, he's come to the WWF, like, he's at the peak of his powers, he's like literally 30 years old, like, at that peak of a career in most professions, I suppose. And I think that's what it is, because I think if Jericho wasn't as good as he is, and they pushed him to win the title, and he was kind of like, oh, they haven't got a lot of history to draw upon, they don't really like to go for things outside of the WWF. But the thing is, he's got amazing history with the company he's in.
Yeah.
And he's won every single title from, like we talked about last time, from 99 to 2001, faster than pretty much everyone, maybe except Kurt Angle.
Yeah, and I think, There was one other Grand Slam winner, right? Who won?
Oh, HBK
Yeah,
as well.
Shawn Michaels. Yeah.
But like with Shawn, like you could argue that like his career started like in the 80s
Yeah,
at
yeah,
WWF,
that's true.
and it wasn't until 96 when he won everything.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Jericho.
you're right.
Because even The Rock didn't win the tag titles until after he won the WWF title, because he won it with Mick Foley in 99 and he won the title in 98, and even Austin and all them. Like, whereas Jericho literally came in, IC like a bunch of times, and he had the European title for a day, he had the hardcore title, he had obviously the tag team titles with Benoit, he just won everything, and he won the WCW title from The Rock. So like, you could just say that.
Yeah, at their most competitive era too.
Yeah, you can say that and be like, okay, so he's this good. The Rock's always been good, and we always know he's been good. But Jericho is always stepping up his game. Can he step up his game to The Rock on a one-on-one match?
Yeah.
There. Because when he was coming out, all they kept saying was, Jericho, the first champion to come out to actually be the underdog. And it's that weird reverse thing where you're like, he's going to fucking win.
Yeah, totally.
Because no one just loses like that. So instead of making him seem like an equal, they make him seem like he's below The Rock. But holy shit, the match coming up is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It starts out great too.
He does just bring it, yeah.
But even before that, I tried lip reading what he was saying. But he does say at one point, "You are not shit compared to me." So that's pretty good.
I like it.
Yeah. And then he.
I like the fact that Jay.
Sorry, go on.
No, so you go ahead.
I was just gonna say.
No, you go.
He puts his hand out and he does the "just bring it," and The Rock is having none of it, and then that's that.
I love it. I love the punches him and literally like elbow running off the ropes. But I quite like that when The Rock was on his way down, that JR actually said that The Rock, what did he say? The Rock's the only man in the last like 10 years to actually win the WWF title at the Rumble, because when he killed Mick Foley.
Oh yeah, the I Quit
99.
match when he just took it way too far.
Way too far. But like that feels like an entirely different person from this Rock now.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But I thought that was nice. I love it. See, they don't even know if they do this now, because I feel like everyone's wrestled everyone often enough so that like wins and losses don't seem to be a big deal. But I like the fact that they have these records at pay-per-views and they go, oh, the last person to win a title in this city or something was this person. Can he do it again tonight, or can he repeat what the other person's success? I quite like that. I've always liked that as like, because I think most wrestling fans love trivia. We're quite nerdy about that.
I don't think that you can ever have enough statistics when it comes to stuff like that. Like with any sport, like ask football fans who play Football Manager. Do you think it would be better if they gave you these statistics before every match in Football Manager? Like, yeah, like it's, I don't know, it's a much better basis for understanding what you're watching, or the significance of what you're watching. Like, it would be great if they did that, and it just makes it feel like more of a real sport, you know what I mean? Like, ultimately we're all buying into a fantasy when we watch WWF, so like, just the way they do that just makes it seem more legitimate.
Yeah, because what they're saying there is wins and losses matter.
Exactly, yeah, and it's significant, like.
But yeah, the crowd's going nuts already. Like even when he's in the Just Bring It, they are full on going crazy, which I do like.
Yeah.
This match is kind of like because they had that match at No Mercy, which is pretty. Well, it's not the same because obviously, they're quite inventive in their ways, but it's kind of the same idea that like no one has the advantage for too long. It's quite even booking.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because they're told that the Royal Rumble is going to go super long, that they're just going through the moves like crazy. Absolutely crazy. I quite like Jericho did the cocky pin after the suplex.
Yeah, and then he did he took the thing off the turnbuckle, like really early, considering how important that spot was going to be in the match.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot he did that early, yeah.
Yeah, which is really good. Like, really good heel work there.
Playing seeds, I love it.
Yeah. His missile dropkick was...
Oh, it's on point.
Oh my god, he nearly took Rock's head off his shoulders, like...
Amazing.
Yeah, insane.
And also the fact that Lawler mentioned Kid Rock.
Yeah, I've written that down as well.
Which is funny because obviously it's not on the thing.
Yeah, it's in abstract. This is fucking hilarious because the fan of today who doesn't understand the full back catalogue of wrestling is going to be like, let's check out Royal Rumble 2002, see what that was like. Like, Kid Rock has no significance in this event at all because they've taken his song off the whole thing. So, like, it's just like, oh, wow, Jerry Lawler is really up to date on his pop culture references. Like, he understands that he just bought a copy of Kid Rock's third album. It's just come out, the lead single of which is Cocky.
It's just some bloke going like, yeah, it reminds me of that video. Alright, does it?
Yeah.
It doesn't appear here. That's so true. It's hilarious.
It's like if you were watching something 10 years from now and someone goes, it's like that Damn It Daniel video or something like that. Like,
yeah, and you're like, what? That's no reference. Or like Charlie Bit My Finger and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's like a fidget spinner to the eye, King.
I got it. Or I got one. Winning.
Oh, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, someone actually said that the other day.
In the office that I work in, there's like one of the managing directors of a different section. He's like this really old, tall white guy, and he just goes around saying "winning."
Still saying this, yeah, yeah, winning.
So out of touch. Oh, it's so funny.
I love it because people like that. It's like they'll hear it, and whereas most of us like. Whether we like it or not, the memes just keep coming.
Yeah.
People like that, like they'll watch them and be like, "Oh, okay, I'll just say that," like forever.
Yeah.
Like there's no like, "Oh, what's the most current meme? Is it to make fun of Jake Paul or whatever?" No, it's just like, that's it. Winning, Tiger Blood, whatever the fuck he was saying during those videos. And to be fair, though, like at the time, I think everybody was saying epic and winning and all that.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
I think the word epic's been tainted forever.
Yeah, and the word legend, too. Like, a legend is supposed to be a story that's half true, half false. And we have taken that word and applied it to people that we like who do good things. You'll never guess what this legend said on Question Time. And it's some guy going like, yeah, mate, your policies are shit, innit?
Legend! Yeah, it's so true, because like this guy, when I was at work last week, he got me I have one of those purifying like water bottle things.
Oh yeah.
And he filled it up for me. As he comes back, I'm like, legend. It's like, bit much. just say thanks. No, you are an actual legend. Myths will be written about this exchange hundreds of years from now.
Yeah,
it's so true. So it's just like if I go, oh yeah, Jericho's a legend. It doesn't have as much weight.
Yeah, it's like when people say like, some say he was born in a mental asylum, like, you know, it's like Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. Like, he's a legend because there are stories going around about him. Some are true, some are not. But he's like a veteran soldier killer guy. You know what I mean? Like. That's what a legend is. It's not just a person that does a thing that we like.
I think also as well, I think you've got more context to being a legend in the older days.
Yeah.
Because if you're sat there telling you stories about, I don't know, Bruno Sammartino, you could be like, yeah, he used to like fight fan. Oh no, he's a babyface, wrong person. Roddy Piper, there you go. You can be like, yeah, the stories of him just fighting fans, and you know, and he was such a good heel or bad guy, whatever. That like people used to throw piss at him, and you kind of go, well, I can't find footage of that.
But there's lots of footage of him ridding the Earth from aliens, so maybe that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Roddy Piper was so good. He put on these glasses.
Yeah,
I kid you not. He could see what's actually there for adverts.
What a guy!
Shit, is there any reference to this? And he's like, "Here's a DVD. It's called They Live." And you're like, "Whoa, legend! Thanks for the DVD, bro. You're a legend." But no, I think as well like that comes because you can't really spawn sort of. You know, stories, because also I think people don't do barbaric acts like they used to. Like, there's a guy called Haku, who's like I think he was at the Rumble a year ago.
Yeah, he was.
And he's got a reputation for being like the hardest man in wrestling.
He's related. He's in that long line of Rikishi relatives, isn't
he? He is, yeah. They teamed up when he came in because he was in WCW as Meng, and then which sounds like I'm like saying man in that Spanish way, Meng. And yeah, no, he came in, and obviously like there's all these stories. If you look him up, he's like known as like the hardest of the hard man. He fucking like some guy apparently starred on him, and he like put his hand in the guy's mouth and like pulled his fucking teeth out. Now, that's barbaric. I know. You fucking punched a guy in like his fucking eyeball fall out. It's all these like extreme versions of like normal things of like fights in those days when you're a wrestler, but like you can't verify that. And I would never say it's not true, but you can't verify for that. So you think like that guy is a hard motherfucker. Whereas now it's like you can't really have that because of social media and everything's kind of filmed.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
So you kind of need that whole, if you didn't film it, or if you didn't take a picture of it, it didn't happen.
The death of the word legend, and we've just solved why.
Exactly. So, great match.
Yeah. Another opportunity to talk about how bad The Rock's sharpshooter is.
Yes. It's not just the person taking it, is it? Not that we ever thought it was.
No, yeah. That's maybe a kind theory if we were on The Rock's side, but nah, this guy is just flat out bad at this. And then he's doing that. Lance Storm comes out. Jericho taps out. Christian gets in the ring. He takes a DDT, I think, from The Rock.
I think he takes the one. I love his DDT. The snaps are like.
It's great. Yeah, it's really quick.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then this is what I was talking about. Nick Patrick comes out, and he escorts the Un-Americans back up the ramp. What's that about?
Good guy, right?
Yeah. Nick Patrick is a bad guy. There's no way that this isn't fitting of his character. This is a guy who couldn't answer a fucking simple question about video footage earlier, and now he's coming out here like trying to even things up for The Rock.
Yeah, he's like, right, you go back, leave, but I have my own agenda when I get to the ring.
Yeah.
More on that later.
Exactly. Yeah, really poor.
Should say though, the crowd's going nuts this entire time, which I do like.
Yeah, and I love when Jericho goes for the people's elbow and The Rock kips up in the middle of it and throws him over the rope.
So good.
So well done, so well timed and well paced and everything. It was class.
Because I was looking at that, he does. I kind of rewound it. He does it like almost to the second Jericho turns his back.
Yeah, that's right.
And he didn't have to, because obviously you can just kip up and Jericho can pretend he didn't see him coming all along. Speaking of which, there's someone else later. There's a fucking moron in terms of not seeing someone else, but more on that later. Yeah, so that was great. And then there's a rock bottom from one table to another.
That was so cool.
Something about those tables breaking that feels quite satisfying to see.
It's because they don't just break and fall in two in the obvious way. Like, they don't ever... It's never a clean break with those tables because there's 4 pieces of it and they all collapse out in different ways. So it's like when you stand on a can of Coke and it crushes all up. You know that way? That's what it's like when those tables go down.
So does that mean under the table, like, their legs are, like, kicking the front bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah. Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, they don't break, like, in half or anything like that. They fall apart rather than break. And yeah, it's awesome seeing it. And I hate it when it doesn't go right. It always makes me cringe.
It looks painful when it doesn't go right.
That's the strange thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know when they had the TLC matches and the guys get thrown from the top of the ladder through the tables to the outside?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was one with Christian, where he literally goes from the top of the ladder straight to the outside. That looks horrible. But with the tables there, and I'm not saying it's any easier to fall, with the tables there, it's almost kind of like a break, a cushiony bit.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Like a less intense fall than just going from the top of the ladder straight to the concrete. So then they get back in the ring. Somehow Jericho takes the advantage. He gets the walls of Jericho in.
Yeah, I was thinking here, I had this exact thought, right? The way they book bad guys, we spoke about it earlier, right? Jericho is a cowardly heel. it's really interesting if you contrast this with how they were booking Benoit as a heel throughout 2000 and 2001. Because...
Oh, prove me wrong, Rock, that era.
Yeah, right? Benoit is a heel,
Yeah.
and he has that Jesse Ventura thing of he only cheats when he's tried everything and it's not working, right? But if Benoit gets you in the crossface, you're fucked. Like, that's just
Yeah,
a fact. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, the crippler crossface will fuck you up. Heel or face,
Yeah.
whatever.
So he'd be like, he's the best wrestler in the world, but if he gets frustrated, he'll resort to cheating. That's the mentality, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's out of anger, not cowardice. It's about about a want to fuck you up, not I can't do this. That's pretty much it. And I was wondering why Jericho had the walls on the Rock, and it just never seemed like Rock was going to tap. It's just not a thing that would happen, even though Jericho's finisher has always been the walls of Jericho in WWF up to this point.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, obviously we know the outcome, blah blah. But yeah, there was never that moment. It wasn't like when you saw, I think, it's like Kurt Angle versus Benoit, and Benoit has him in the crossfaces for the title. It's like the Rumble a year from this. And by the way, it's one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. It's exactly that. Like every time either Kurt has the ankle lock or Benoit has the crossface. I don't know if it's the intensity of the person taking it or the person selling it, or it's like a mixture of both, or the way the move's been put over, but there's that sort of like, holy shit, this could be it. And the thing about the crossface, even if he applies it like 2 minutes into the match, and he hasn't worked on the arm or the shoulder, you still have that thing of like, this move is, whatever, however good you think you are health-wise in the match, like, he puts that on, he can lock that in for as long as he wants.
Yeah, the intensity of it too, whenever he drags him down, when he does like the arm drag takedown, and he's pushing their shoulder into the mat before he puts his right arm over their face. He pushes their shoulder in, and with his left arm, he's grabbing their left arm to put it in between his legs so they can't do anything with it. He does that with such ferocity and quickness. Like, it's so obvious that this... it's like watching a fucking tiger taking down its prey. Like, everything is just so technically put in place because everything works to his strength when he does it, and once it's in, that's it. Like, there, obviously people have gotten out of it, but you can think it is plausible that Benoit could like have Austin submit within 2 minutes by putting in that hold. Like, that's how serious it is.
Whether he's getting a push or not as well.
Exactly, yeah. Like, you can use Benoit to build up any face that way too, because overcoming Benoit is a huge deal. And Benoit's the same size as Jericho, so I don't get why the walls of Jericho isn't a big deal. I think maybe it has something to do with the changing shape of the walls of Jericho over time. Like, when Jericho is
from the Lion Tamer.
Yeah,
just like on your neck.
Yeah, and he puts his knee into their back. But obviously, as he transitioned to the heavyweight scene, he can't do that because he's not strong enough to hold up the Rock for that long. Like, he can do it against, S.A. Rios or whoever. I don't know why I said S.A. Rios out of any wrestler. I just picked
Hurricane.
him.
Those sort of lads, yeah.
Yeah, any of those, where it's realistic that Jericho would face them one-on-one. So maybe they just took away his submission prowess because the move looks less glamorous now or something.
I think it's just the fact they don't talk about it like they talk about it with Benoit. Because I think that's a good point as well, obviously. It's the fact that he does it like a Boston Crab.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more meh.
It doesn't look as good, but he did it to maximum impact against Triple H at Fully Loaded 2000, or was it Fully Loaded?
Yeah,
remember?
the last man standing match.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
amazing.
They built the walls of Jericho as his finishing move. Like, when he was putting anybody in that up to that point, it was seen as bad news for that person. But heel Jericho, it just doesn't have the same impact, and it's silly to think that. Like, so he has to win every match by pin, but he has no moves to do it. Like, didn't he beat The Rock with the Rock Bottom at Vengeance?
He did, yeah, that was it. He beat him clean with a Rock Bottom.
Yeah.
And then he beat Austin after the interference. But, like, because the Lion Salt's like a signature move. It's not an actual finisher. Obviously, just nowhere near the Code Breaker era. But yeah, I think that's the thing. It's just not talked about as much because it's like, they talk about his character and they talk about his resiliency, blah blah, but they never go like, and they do now because obviously you've got everything, you can just say whatever you want about him. But back then they kind of didn't go like, there's a difference between, because like you said, like back in the babyface years, it was about not being in the submission move, and that's what the crossface is about.
Yeah.
The crossface is about not being in it. It's a little like Becky Lynch's arm breaker or disarm or whatever it's called. It's like the thrill isn't from the person being in the move for 2 minutes and screaming. The thrill comes from the fact that he has to apply it, and by applying it, that's when it's over.
Yeah.
Not, I've applied it, now you're in it, now you go to the ropes, and now you didn't tap, or you're so close to tapping out, or you did tap in the end. So I kind of like when the move itself is like, don't get caught up in it. And maybe it was that with the crossface. I don't remember specifically people being in the crossface for too long until later on. But it's the idea of like, as soon as you put in that, you're tapping because you might break your fucking shoulder or your arm.
Yeah, he put Jericho unconscious with it at, I want to say, Judgment Day 2000. No, I think it might have been SummerSlam 2000 actually. But Benoit, he KO'd Jericho from the crossface. Jericho didn't tap, but the match was over. So
You passed out.
yeah,
Exactly.
that
like
was
a
the one
sharpshooter.
where they used to do after every pay-per-view when you owned the VHS, when it played, and then Jonathan Coachman arrived.
Yes.
And then he would, like, he didn't even interview anyone. He was just like, Chris Benoit. And then it went to Chris Benoit talking about the Jericho match, and he goes, Chris Benoit could not, or sorry, and this is word for word, I remember this. He goes, Chris Jericho could not. Once I locked that crossface on, there was absolutely no hope. And then it ends. And Coach goes, Chris Benoit, a man of few words.
I remember one of those as well for Fully Loaded 2000.
When he took
and
on
that's
The Rock.
the one. Yeah. Oh my god, I love that match with him and Shane.
What a bloody match.
Yeah. That little keynote on that, the bit where like he tears up The Rock's clothes.
Yeah, and he smashes those sunglasses, doesn't he? He snaps them in two.
Because if he gets DQ'd, he gets title changes hands and or something like that. Some screwiness from Shane. But like they do a promo with Benoit, and he's like, "The Rock, you going to scream, Rocks." He can't say scream. He says scream, and he's like, "I should be the World Wrestling Federation Championship." It's just like, come on, bro. Like but that's what makes him kind of, it's the intensity. That's like this dude can barely speak because he's just so fucked off with everything.
Yeah, totally.
That's always what worked for him. But yeah, so, there's a bit in this match as well. Back to the match. So, Lawler casually mentions the Scorpion King.
Yeah, that's right.
He says he's the Scorpion King. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Promoting.
It's actually at this exact moment too. It's when Rock is in the walls of Jericho. It's when he's reaching up for the rope and his spine is like arched, and that's when.
Oh,
King
so it
goes,
does make sense.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah.
See, I was already giving out on my notes to even notice what was going on. I was like, shameless promoting. Fuck off. And then so then The Rock takes out Earl Hebner. Oh, he does. Oh, that small cradle. I actually thought that was it.
Yeah,
Even though, The Rock wasn't winning, but it's just got caught up. But like. So he takes out Earl Hebner, and then that's the bit when they go, here comes that referee again, Nick Patrick.
Also, though, just before that, when Rock took out Hebner, did you notice that he sold like an absolute boss? Like,
no, I didn't notice.
Oh, it's real, like, it's happening on the corner of the screen, so it's not centerpiece to where the camera is, but like, Rock, I think he clotheslines him, doesn't he? And Hebner flies backwards onto the ropes and then flips upside down. Like, it's just incredible. Like, almost as good as when he sold unofficial merchandise from the boot of his car. But anyway.
He's almost when he sold Bret Hart, saying he wouldn't do the screw job.
Yeah.
And then almost like these two very separate occasions in a man's entire life.
These two classic Hebner moments that have come to define him as a person.
Sad, but,
True.
Don't be a cunt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sad but true. Metallica.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I was immediately, like, caught in the fact that they go, here comes that referee. And it's just like,
Nicholas
right.
Patrickus.
Yeah, what's Nicholas up to? So he does a DDT, the Rock does DDT. Nicholas refuses to count.
Yeah.
But he's really weird. Like, he doesn't do, like, the, maybe he'd be like, oh, I'm not counting because you hurt my friend. The arrow hurt my friend. Not Earl. Like, you know,
Earl Hebner that Nick Patrick fucking tried to annihilate at Invasion just a few months before that.
Yeah, or maybe he does the old like, oh, my shoulder. No, he just does sort of like, I'm not allowing that.
He
which
just
is like
goes
the
back
weirdest
to
way.
he goes back to how do I feel about this?
What do I think about thinking about this pinfall? And The Rock, I think, does The Rock clock him? No, he doesn't. He just gets up,
He rock bottoms
gets
him.
hit. Oh, does he?
Yeah, he hits him with
Fuck
the rock
me, there's
bottom.
a lot of rock bottoms to normal people here.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it would have made more sense if Nick Patrick just came out with the Un-Americans again, and that was the whole thing. He was like bringing them back to be like, wait for our opportunity. But instead, it's like, all right, guys, get the fuck out of
He's
here.
the brains behind the Un-Americans.
I will handle this.
Yeah, guys, I've got a license, and believe it or not, I'm still allowed to do this job,
Yeah.
even though I'm like, proven to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, and I literally can't answer a basic question, but
Yeah, I can answer a basic question, but I can count, or maybe not. But yeah, I think then Jericho does a low blow, hits him on the ropes, title shot, feet on the ropes, and yeah.
So that moment there, that he compresses those three things into about 4 seconds, and it's
Of
like
heelness.
the smoothest transition of moves from a heel that I have ever seen. Like, he looks like he's born to do this at that point. The low blow is incredible, and Rock sells it really well. And then just the way he got him into the cradle and put his feet on the ropes, and it was done in the exact point where it would be out of Earl Hebner's view. It's perfect. It's so perfect. Like, it's just pristine heel work from Jericho there. Like, I absolutely love it. Because he had, like, Jericho probably had such a tough time, like, mentally during this title run because of the fact that he's used to hitting double power bombs on people and doing that double arm handled backbreaker thing that he used to do, remember, where he'd get them in the pedigree position, lift them up, and then like he's able to throw people around the ring and stuff.
He's dropped all those moves. That's so true.
Yeah, he can't do any of those, but and he's a heel, and so he has to do basic heel moves, and he does them better than like any other heel. Like they're giving him basic shit to do, and he's not only is he doing it, he's bossing it. Like, he's so damn good in the ring, and this is probably peak Jericho. Like, he's probably at his best here, and he's not even able to do, like, half his moveset, and he's just killing it. He's so good.
Yeah, like, I think probably the only person he has better chemistry with is Shawn Michaels in the ring. Yeah. But that's more of we're bringing the best out of each other. This is like, not that The Rock isn't the guy who brings the best out of people, but this is like I'm gonna be on par or above you. They fucking went full throttle for like 20 minutes.
They did, yeah. It was awesome.
And they only slowed down to sell big moves rather than rest holds, which is kind of different. So The Rock would do a superplex, they'd kind of stay down for a bit, or the table thing.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I could have watched another 10 minutes of that match. I was really enjoying it.
It's class, yeah. I've seen that match like countless times too, because it's so damn good.
It feels like they could have had like 20 minutes of moves in them if it was like a house show where they just go all night, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It was really, really good.
So Jericho retains. We'll probably catch up on Jericho again at the end. So I guess he retained. That's a thing, right? But JR's giving him shit for it. And then, so it cuts to JR and Lawler, right? And at this point, I literally wrote down, Jerry Lawler looks stupid. Like, he's doing a shit Elvis tribute act. And then they cut to WWF New York. And then Shawn Michaels is on the screen. And I'm like, a stupider man has just appeared on screen. What is he wearing?
So Shawn Michaels is draped in patriotism here. He is just an all-American Budweiser commercial. He's a walking Budweiser commercial. That's what he is.
He is.
Just American flag, cowboy hat, rugged, stubbly looks. It's just,
Yeah, Shawn Michaels presents to you Steel Mills and fucking that sort of world. And, like, he's got a cowboy hat, and the shadow of the cowboy hat is, like, draped over his eyes, so he looks glazed over. He's got Texas. He's wearing Texas.
Yeah. You can tell he's got, like, 4 Garth Brooks CDs in his car.
Yeah, and he's never listened to anything else ever.
Yeah.
Or like that Toby Keith guy.
Yeah.
You
All
know?
of that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that, don't tread on me bullshit. And, so, he sounds drunk. He doesn't sound, I don't know if he's clean at this point. I don't know if he's born again at this point, but I'm assuming he isn't, just because of how high his belt is and his trousers are. And it just makes me uncomfortable when someone has it that high.
That's fair, yeah. That makes sense.
So, he gives out, he gives props to Vince and Flair, which is like, oh, these two people are the people that influenced me the most. It's actually true, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets asked who he thinks is going to win. I think he manages to mention George Bush.
Wasn't.
At some point, he's like,
genuinely wasn't listening.
Oh, he says, was that because his shirt was too loud?
Yeah, no, that's literally why. All I could hear was just American fucking Budweiser bottles
Texas.
opening, and yeah.
Yeah. That tastes awful, Budweiser. I mean, I'm not even a beer guy, but that tastes awful.
It's very, like, just sudsy, very heavy foam. Like, it's so funny that there's like a Czech import of Budweiser called Budvar. It's like 100 times nicer. So.
Is Budweiser like the beer that people have when they don't know what they're drinking?
It's
like
definitely
your first beer.
It's definitely stereotyped that way. I don't know. I don't know anyone who drinks Budweiser my age. It's mostly an older person drink, like Miller and Bud. Like they're sort of, whereas younger people drink like Corona and Sol and those sort of beers that are billed as being more refreshing for you. Like
give a shout out to Heineken. That's probably the only beer outside of like Corona and San Miguel that I actually really enjoy.
I love a Heineken as well.
It's like the cheapest one in the clubs as well.
Yeah.
So double in there, but so he says, like George Bush says, don't tread on Texas or you don't fuck with Texas. I don't even know what George Bush said about Texas, but he managed to mention George Bush, which makes me think he's a Republican.
He's definitely 100% a Republican.
Look at him.
There is no doubt that the man with the cowboy hat and the American flag shirt from Texas. Yeah.
Take one look at him.
Yeah.
Liberal. Yeah, no, he mentions George Bush, which, now is that, mentioning George Bush in 2002, is that as controversial as mentioning Trump now in wrestling?
No.
No.
Definitely
because
not.
Twitter wasn't around.
Yeah, and like, a lot of people, like, yeah, George Bush was only really seen as an idiot by, like, liberal, like, musicians and stuff, like System of a Down and Stone Sour, like Rage Against the Machine. That was all the like fuck George Bush stuff. I don't think like the media supported Trump or Bush when it came to the whole invasion of Iraq thing and all. Like that was actually, in fact, Republicans and Democrats around that time both agreed that it was a good idea to go to Iraq. So if anything, HBK saying that at the time was probably really inoffensive because there was a much stronger sense of unity about the country. And I was going to say, I think it's really weird that he was draped in American decor like that, but it actually makes sense if it's post 9/11 and like there is much more of a sort of communal spirit going around with Americans.
I suppose I was just going to say that, isn't it? Is that like that right-left paradigm sort of shifted from let's just get the bad guys and whatever. And I suppose if you're against that, he would have been perceived as anti whatever. Yeah. So
I don't
really makes sense.
I think it's so weird. It sort of feels like a specifically American thing to me. People going around wearing the flag of their country on their shirt that way. Like, I don't know if any other nation does that, but it does.
We're more about flags here, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's
flags
also,
and scarves and tidbits rather than...
When WWE bring in a heel from another country, they always make that other country a strong part of their identity, like Rusev and Bulgaria, or what was it, Vladimir Kozlov or whatever the fuck that guy's name was, or like Finley, like yes. He's a tough Irish bastard. He comes
Sheamus.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's just because that's how Americans view how you are supposed to behave about the country that you're from. Because I don't know, it doesn't strike me as a
international... As in, like, that's what they think patriotism is because that's how they do it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Tajiri has to have the Japanese flag somewhere on his clothes, or William Regal has to at some point, say he's British, he's a monarch and all that. I see that's a good point, because maybe that is, and maybe that's why if you're a Canadian and you have to always be Canada's better, Canada, or you're Mexican and you're Mexican's better. Yeah, that's very true, and it's like most places I've been, everywhere there's like xenophobes and people over the top, blah, blah, bigots, whatever. But most countries you go to, people are aware that their own country has such because every country has dark history. Like, to survive as a country, you would have had to do something horrific to somebody else.
Yeah.
Especially during empires and stuff like that. But, like, America seems to be the only country that has, like, such a short-term memory loss, which is also stranger because they're, like, one of the newest countries, and they're going basically on fast forward.
Yeah, it's weird. I am also thinking, though, maybe they do it because it's like, if you ever watch boxing or UFC or whatever, they do always put the flag of the person, like... Yeah,
or like racing as well.
Yeah, so maybe they're just doing it to try and legitimize their sport a little bit more, to make it look like it belongs at that spectrum. But... I don't know.
On the world stage, it's got appeal. Oh, look, we have a Bulgarian.
Yeah.
How do we know? Because he fucking swings the flag every day of his life.
Or they get the fucking little guy to be Hornswoggle, which just... I think...
Polish, the guy, as well?
Is he? Yeah, he's definitely not
Polish
Irish.
Born.
Like, yeah. But that was tough to watch, to be honest. Like, I could just get by with Finlay coming out with his shillelagh. And Taz always calling him a tough Irish bastard. Like, there's no fucking way on this planet that Taz would refer to, like, Kofi Kingston as a tough Kenyan bastard. Like, there's no way he'd be like...
Ghanaian bastard over there.
This guy is one hell of a tough African bastard. Like, you just would not say that, because that is not okay to say. So, like, stop acting as if every Irish person is a drunken brawler, because...
That's so true.
Only some of us are.
Yeah, only on certain days as well.
Yeah.
And not to, it's like, I was just thinking, imagine if he was like, that Tajiri, he's one tough Asian. Yeah. And it's like, fuck me, one step from like saying Chinaman or something like horrifically offensive.
Exactly.
And setting the clock back about 50, 60 years. But, no, don't know why the fuck they cut to Shawn Michaels, but the best bit about this, right? JR is either a comedic genius with awareness, or he's not a comedic genius with awareness, and we're all just living in JR's world of comedy. We're all just guests, and he's the fucking leading man. He says to Shawn Michaels, after Shawn Michaels rambles on about wanting, basically, Undertaker or Austin to win, I think. Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, didn't say Bradshaw, was also from Texas. But JR just goes, "Thank you, Shawn. I wish you were here." Now, does he mean that he's like so glazed over, like, I wish Shawn Michaels was with us? Or does he mean, I wish Shawn Michaels was with us here in the arena where we are? But either way, I thought it was just like, and there's like a pause.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, fucking hell, Jim, that is ruthless. Thank you very much, Shawn. I wish you were here.
Thanks, like, Shawn. Wow. I'm sorry you couldn't be a part of this. But... Yeah,
that's exactly it. It's like, when you see those awkward celebrity interviews with like, what's that guy's name? Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
and he's still gone all mad, and then Letterman's like, "Oh, Joaquin, it's a shame you couldn't be here with us."
Yeah,
and it's that sort of cleverness about it, and obviously because Joaquin thing was fake at the time, but I thought that was fucking genius from JR. So yeah, Royal Rumble to a generic rock. And Austin every now and then goes, "What?"
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Like, in the original promo, you guys can watch it online. Like, just Google Royal Rumble cocky promo. It's great. It's actually really good. They use the radio-friendly version of Cocky by Kid Rock, and the chorus is where he goes, "They say I'm cocky, and I say what?" But they change it to, "And I say what?" And Austin is there.
Though.
Yeah, they kept it in. It's ridiculous. You're like... It's like you're watching something that has basically got the TNA music, as in Test and Albert. Their entrance music was like... That's what you're watching here. And the promo makes no sense.
That's a good impression.
And Austin is just like... It's like... what? It's ridiculous. And you can hear the...
What?
Yeah, and you can hear the fading echo of editing around it that they've done. Like, they didn't even use the original track of Austin going, what? They used the cocky one, and they dubbed over it. It's just...
Yeah.
Oh, it's pathetic.
You get the little entrails of the...
Yeah.
They're trying to make it a bit louder. They do this sometimes with promos, that when a wrestler comes out and they want to use the audio clip, you can hear which theme song, if you pay attention, you can hear which theme song is playing as JR's going like, he's here, or this person's in the match. It's like it's like the background music you can hear, and it's hilarious.
What do you know when RVD started using the One of a Kind theme? Because I think he was using it here, but they don't have it on the network anymore. Because when I was listening to...
It's this year. It's 2002, but I don't think Forcible Entry was out till WrestleMania, because I remember at WrestleMania, you'll see this as well, each time a person who has the song from the album comes out, the ticker comes up at the bottom.
Yeah, that's right. But,
so with RVD, might be next month, the month after, I'm not sure.
Well, his music, the sound mixing here is odd, because RVD's music is louder than anybody else's.
There's two one-of-a-kind RVD songs.
Yeah.
I wonder maybe one of them they were still generic as fuck, but maybe they borrowed it from someone else. That's the only thing I can think of, because it's like, I think RVD sounded weird, and then as we go through, I think there's someone else's which is weird, but I can't remember it right now.
Scotty Giamatti.
Yeah, banging it. So Triple H came back.
Yeah.
He was wearing denim.
He was wearing lots of denim. He was wearing denim on top of denim.
With a leather jacket underneath.
A leather jacket underneath. It's gotta be fucking like 150 degrees Celsius in that arena, and this motherfucker is coming out with a leather jacket over a t-shirt with a denim jacket on top of that.
All he's missing is that beret he used to wear.
Yeah. But he looks hench
made of leather
as fuck here.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's gigantic. And
ginormous. Learning from Vince.
Yeah. That's my boy!
Yeah.
But, he's in great physical condition. There's a nice little clip of him pedigreeing the Big Show in the promo, which is just a sight to behold.
Killed him.
Yeah. Knocked that man unconscious.
So then Taker looks at him, right?
Yeah.
The music is at all times. This is hitting like peak generic, at this point. Yeah. They all do moves. Every now and then Austin says what. But did you notice Undertaker had denim jeans?
Yep.
Stone Cold had denim shorts.
Yep.
Like, please get these men sponsorship from like anyone who makes denim, because like they are shilling the fuck out of that.
It's strange how terrible a look, if you think about it, just, in a vacuum. Austin's jean shorts and military jacket. Like, it's such a fucking awful look. Who would dress like that? And they're not like John Cena jean shorts where they're like, remotely acceptable in certain situations. These are, you can see his knees.
And at that time as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, you can see his knees. It's a terrible look for a tough Texan.
They're about 10 inches from being Daisy Dukes.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the problem I have with them. And when we saw Austin earlier coming up behind Stephanie, he was wearing black denim, and they were very, very close to being Daisy Dukes.
Yeah, he also had he's got weird gold. It looks like what Jackie used to wear back in '98, like that cheetah sort of like tiger print that he's got on the logo. Very strange. Yeah. This is like the alternative timeline of every character, because it's like it's gone beyond the attitude there. This is that gap before they go to the ruthless aggression, where everyone looks a little bit weird and they dress, and everyone's still trying to find their sort of post attitude era look.
Yeah, you're right, and like maybe that is even why Flair was dressed the way he was in A Vengeance. Like, he hadn't figured out that he was gonna be the Nature Boy again.
Yeah, and he thought, maybe I'll be the Don, the Consortium Don.
Yeah. Don Consortione.
Don Consortione himself. But, maybe that's it. Like, they all kind of were, kind of trying to find their sort of, okay, we're no longer doing the over-the-top sexual thing and the cool thing. We're now kind of like more ourselves. so let's dress like we actually do. But then you realize, like, you all just love denim, mate.
Yeah, you all
You're
are
all just
weird,
bonded.
like Levi enthusiasts.
Yeah, they all just bonded over denim.
Yeah.
Hey, nice denim. Thanks, bro. Nice denim jacket. Thanks, bro. Nice denim shorts. Thanks, bro. Nice denim jeans. And the jerk-off section about denim. Yeah, sign of the night. It just says, some Jew guy.
Oh, shit,
That's it.
really?
That was the sign of the night. I teased it earlier. I told you it was going to be awful.
Yeah. Mine was a guy holding up a sign that said, I need a job.
Simple and effective. Simple but effective.
And not a lie either. So.
No, I need. There's an emphasis on the fact that he's struggling. I need.
Yeah.
No, I should have a job. It's like, I need. Please employ me.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to work for the Fed. Who knows?
Maybe.
Fink goes over the rules and Lawler gives him shit, which is a recurring theme.
Yes, that's what I was just about to say. That has happened. I've been watching Rumbles. I watch wrestling like every weekend. I watch some wrestling. Lately, my theme has been
old
Rumbles.
or new.
And yeah, Finkel is like, then every 2 minutes or after, another superstar enters the ring. If the superstar and Jerry Lawler's, I was like, shut up, Fink.
Yeah, we haven't got all night. Shut your mouth. Like,
yeah.
They always give him shit. There's one from the 90s where it's like I think it's The Rock and Triple H. I always remember this because JR gives him shit and JR shouldn't be giving him shit, but it's like a 3 out of 2, 2 out of 3 out of 2, 2 out of 3 pinfall match, and there's like a minute's rest. So obviously when there's a pinfall and Fink goes, no, a minute's rest, and JR just goes, duh. It's like, you shouldn't be saying that. You're supposed to be us.
You just cannot imagine JR being that spiteful. Like,
they just all give shit to Fink all the time.
Fuck him. He probably deserves it.
They hate him for some reason.
Yeah, that's why I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I think it's because he had hair and he lost his hair, then he got hair back and they had a sponsorship with like Hair Club for Men, but he bald it again. Maybe they just hated him ever since.
They just don't respect him because he's bald.
Yeah. Watch WrestleMania 10, everyone listening to this, and you yourself, El De Niro. Like, watch WrestleMania 10 when fucking he comes out and they give him spot. Like, the announcer introduces him, and he's got like a full head of hair. And Vince is like, wow, look at that hair. They just keep focusing, thinking his hair. He's a sex icon. Look it up. It's before Bret and Owen at WrestleMania 10. It's dire straits that company was in '94, mate.
Yeah. They were really, really bad. Anything pre-Attitude Era is tough to watch.
Oh, really? I love it. How shit it is.
Oh, but yeah, you're very alternative. Like,
you're
the way you consume entertainment is like almost in an ironic
in reverse.
way. Yeah, you're not happy unless something is objectively bad, so that you can enjoy it.
Like all those films I kept saying you screenshots, like IMDb 2.1.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Fucking yes.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I want to watch a movie. I'm like 7.7 on IMDb. It's got a 67 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, mostly good. You're like 34% Rotten Tomatoes. 5.3 on IMDb. We got ourselves a movie.
Yeah. 1988. Yes, I am in. And I was made to watch Logan recently.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's great. I assume you
it's
think otherwise.
Really good.
Okay.
It was like the first serious film I've seen in about a year. I actually really enjoyed it.
It's quality. It's such a good movie.
Like, I think the film I watched before that was serious was like don't know if you've seen this, Denzel Washington playing Malcolm X.
Oh yeah.
It's a contemporary film, obviously.
Yeah, didn't get an Oscar for it, bizarrely.
Yeah, I saw the director's cut, like 3 hours 40 minutes. Holy shit.
Longer than our podcasts.
Just. Maybe people can play the podcast audio to the film, and then eventually when he gets to 3 hours I'm talking about it, they go, look at that. He's talking about it. Two completely different mediums.
Hey, nothing you can say, nothing's gonna change what you've done to me. Now it's time to shine, I'm gonna take what's mine while you're burning inside
You're listening to WWP, the premium podcast of the wrestling universe. If you're enjoying this episode, please log into iTunes and consider leaving a rating and a review. The direct link to the iTunes feed can be found in the description of this episode, alongside our Twitter, Facebook, and other social media links. WWP, slam it!